Good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2021 Virtual Small Business and Minority Resource Fair. Obviously, this year looks a little different. Typically, we gather together and are able to talk with one another and connect at our own pace. Given the pandemic this year, obviously we are virtual, but we have packed a lot of information into a three-hour period. And at 12 p.m. at the conclusion of all of our presentations, you will have time to connect with one another and introduce yourselves and make connections that way. So thank you for joining us. It is my pleasure to introduce the Harford County Executive, Barry Glassman, who is a true friend and advocate of small business in Harford County, to welcome us and kick off the morning. So good morning, County Executive Glassman. How are you today?
Good morning. It's good to see everyone. Now, the first thing before I start, I'm looking on this screen. I don't see too many smiles. It's Friday and we had a couple of warm days. So let me see some smiles out there. I saw Mr. Thornton there when I first on there. He was frowning. I want to see everybody smiling. There you go. All right. God bless you all this morning. Thanks for having me here today. I'm proud of our administration is able to continue to support the small business and minority resource fair again this year, albeit a little differently than we have done over the last couple of years in this virtual format. In partnership with the Harford County Chamber of Commerce, along with our advocacy partner, and more recently, the lead for venture access, our county's entrepreneurial support system, and the Caucus of African American Leaders, our economic development team has put together a tremendous amount of resources designed to help you engage and network with peers to help grow your business. As you all know, small businesses are the heart of Harford County's economy. They are job creators that help hold our communities together, and that is why we want to do whatever we can to try to help and support them. This year has been especially hard on businesses, and we certainly recognize that. We've made a point to put as much support into our businesses as we could with our allocation of federal and state COVID relief funds. So far, we have awarded over $23 million in federal, state, and local assistance provided through almost 3,300 business grants since June. Another round of restaurant support recently closed and should be coming out in the near future. I have to get on Lynn. I thought that would be out already. There's Lynn. All right. Lynn, I'm leaning on you. I wanted that out.
We'll get it out. Let some people get some corrections in and then it'll go.
All right. I'm going to check on you here by March 1st. We are going to continue to pursue opportunities on behalf of our local businesses and try to help companies grow and begin to pick up their market share as they start to reopen. And I'm certainly hopeful as the vaccine efforts pick up that we will be able to see the economy begin to move back to normalcy, I think, by late spring, early summer. That's why events like today are so important. We hope that you'll find a resource that maybe you didn't know about before. Please enjoy the presentations you're about to hear and reach out to our Office of Community and Economic Development to help you pursue any new ventures in the coming months. So I want to thank everyone and let you know that I'm currently beginning to work through our next fiscal year budget, and the Harford County economy has been resilient. Surprisingly, even with the pandemic, our local businesses have found a way, and some of them have been hurt more than others. But when we look at the broad spectrum across different revenues, our families are hanging in there, our businesses are hanging in there. And so as compared to our cohorts around the country, we are in pretty strong shape. And so we hope that continues and only improves as we move into the next quarter. So God bless you. Enjoy today. I hope you get a lot of information from it. And as always, if you need anything, please let us know. And thanks to the Chamber, the African American Caucus of Business, and all Venture Access and all the folks that helped make today possible. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, County Executive. And we've talked about this before at many events, and we are absolutely grateful for all that your administration does. And I credit that resilience because of the open communication that your team has with the business community, and you truly listen. So it's not just lip service. So thank you very much. You know what the needs are, and you have a great team surrounding you. We work closely with the Community and Economic Development Office, and that's a great team. So thanks for all that you do. And as you know, we always say to you, how can we support you? So please know that you have a great group of business-oriented people, especially on this call today, willing to help and have conversations. So if you need anything from us, do not hesitate to ask. Have a fabulous Friday.
All right. Thank you all. Don't forget to smile. All right.
Exactly. It's now my pleasure to introduce Jim Thornton, Harford County Caucus of African American Leaders. Good morning, Jim. Oh, and you're on mute.
You would think by now that I'd figure that out. So again, thanks for the introduction, Angela, and thanks to all of the attendees and to the presenters on Friday morning. And I'm delighted that I'm here representing my colleagues on the Harford County Caucus of African American Leaders. And we are delighted that we have been asked again to be a co-sponsor of today's event. As I think about the timing of this event, it couldn't come at a more critical time as we think about the last year and the impact that the COVID-19 has had on small businesses, to the point that the county executive made earlier. This hopefully 3 hours will provide all of the attendees a lot of resources that are available in our community that they can tap into. We are an organization that's about 3 years old here in Harford County, and our mission is to advocate for fairness, equity, and inclusion for African Americans in Harford County. And we're made up of about 40 individuals representing a lot of different groups, faith-based group, small business owners, professional organizations. And so we see this as being critical. It's one of the bedrocks of any community is to have a strong and valuable small business community. And so again, we're hoping that all of you will gain an awful lot today, tools in your toolbox, if you will, that you'll be able to use and to help grow your business, or in some cases start a business as our economy rebounds. So again, on behalf of my colleagues, we're delighted to be involved with the Chamber and with Harford County government, and delighted to see County Executive Glassman, and of course, Venture Access as well. So welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to partner with you. I'm very grateful for helping us support this event today and doing exactly what you said, putting tools in people's toolbox to be successful. So thank you. I now introduce Heather Murphy, my counterpart at the Harford County Chamber of Commerce and the Venture Access Coordinator. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning, and good morning to all of you. Happy Friday. I do want to put on my Venture Access hat for a moment and just make sure that everyone, if you're not aware, kind of understand what the role of Venture Access is and why we are so excited for today's event and to hear from all of our speakers and to meet a lot of you all and to figure out how we can best help. So Venture Access is Harford County's entrepreneurial triage resource point, as I like to call it. So essentially, we help in assisting entrepreneurs or small business owners on their quest to successfully form, launch, and grow profitable companies here in Harford County. So what that means is we essentially get you connected with what I like to call our community assets, a lot of whom are here today. You'll be hearing from shortly. So we're excited about that, so that you can get essentially the access that you need to the resources that are right here in your community. Our relationships are continual, so it's not just a one and done. We work with you throughout the process or at any point that you might need help. That could be in the beginning, or you might be in an expansion phase. So wherever you might be in your process, again, we're looking to make sure that you're growing a successful company, and we're here to help guide you along the way. If you would like to speak one-on-one with me, that is very much so my day-to-day is talking with entrepreneurs, with small business owners, understanding where you are in your journey and making sure that we can connect you directly to those resources. Again, a lot of whom you will hear from today. So this is essentially a for-do liaison, if you will. We're here to walk alongside you, help you navigate through all of the resources available in our community. And if you want to also explore that relationship, it gets you access to more information about opportunities, might be from a funding standpoint, perhaps it's an event standpoint for networking, all great opportunities for entrepreneurs and small business owners. So we're very excited and thank you for being a part of the event today.
Thanks, Heather. While we have him on the screen, I want to introduce, and if you can give a wave, Len Parrish from the Office of Community and Economic Development. He is the director, and we work closely with that office at the Chamber, and his team is joining us today. So his Deputy Director, Karen Holt, Bonnie Barese, who is an integral part of the work that's being done from there, and we're going to hear from Len later on, but I do want to say hello and good morning, Len. And if you want to say good morning to the group, I welcome you to do so.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Happy to be a part of this today. Happy to support this this event again this year. And glad to see the number of attendees. So please enjoy. And as Ange mentioned, I'll say some closing remarks later and try and wrap this up a little bit for us. But please enjoy what we have together for you guys today. And thanks to my team and your team and the Caucus for coming together to produce this event yet again this year.
Thank you. So now we're going to get into the bulk of our day, and we're going to start off with our resource partner presentations. And I can tell you that this is just scratching the surface of a lot of the resources that we have in the county. So we will go through some that are not able to join us this morning. But if you have a specific question or a need and you don't see the resources listed, please reach out to anyone that is on the call today, whether it be Jim or the Office of Community and Economic Development, the Chamber, because this is exactly what we do. We are a resource, as Heather said, resource triage, and can direct you where you need to go. And there are so many opportunities out there for small businesses and minority-owned businesses that a lot of people don't know about and don't realize what is there. So we're going to try to very quickly go through what some of those resources are. At the end of the day, you will receive a follow-up with the PowerPoint presentation that has contact information in there. But it is now my pleasure to start the resource partner presentations. Clearly, I have not had enough coffee this morning. And we are going to start with the Office of Minority Business Enterprise out of the Maryland Department of Transportation office, and Vashti Payette, I hope I said your name right, who is the outreach coordinator for that office. Good morning. I know he logged on earlier, so let's see if he is here.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone this morning?
Good morning.
Sorry, I was having a little trouble with my mute button. But yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Vashti Payette. I am the outreach coordinator for the Office of Small and Minority Business Policy. So today I am here to let you all know about the opportunities that the Maryland Department of Transportation offers for small and minority businesses. So we are the official certification agency for the MBE, DBE, ACDBE, and SBE program. I'll go into those acronyms in a little bit, but we are the official certification agency. And so if you have any questions regarding being certified as a minority business enterprise or a disadvantaged business enterprise or an airport concession disadvantaged enterprise or a small business enterprise, I am the person to contact. We are here to help you throughout the application process, let you know about the eligibility standards and much, much more. We have a webinar coming up actually next week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. and at 5:30 for all of your application needs. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. And I know I went out of order a little bit. I hit click too quickly on the screen. So thank you for being prepared and being.
Not a problem.
I appreciate that. Let's see. Thank you. Good morning to Eduardo Hayden out of the Governor's Office of Small, Minority, and Women's Business Affairs. He is the Small Business Outreach Manager. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good this Friday. So real quick, our office, Governor's Office of Small, Minority, and Women Business Affairs. 3 things that we sort of do in this shop is, first, we advise the governor on issues that impact the small minority, women, and veteran business companies in the state of Maryland. We provide direct oversight over 3 state procurement programs. One of those, of course, is the MBE program that Vashti just mentioned. We also oversee and manage the Small Business Reserve procurement program and the Veteran Small Business Enterprise program. And so we oversee the compliance for those particular programs, including its implementation and establishing best practices within those programs. We also conduct statewide outreach and training programs to help any of our minority, women, and veteran-owned small businesses, including small businesses, of course, so that they can compete with a little better confidence, specifically if it's for state contracting, but also in the private sector. And then we also maintain a robust website that provides plenty of information on business resources to help them with their development and their growth. And so that's, that in a nutshell is what our office does. I will highlight that one of the programs we're pushing right now is the Small Business Reserve. And that's really in support of the governor putting forward an executive order in which we're basically, he's saying that contracts between $50,000 and $500,000 have to be thrown into the Small Business Reserve pot. And so that's one area where many of our small and minority-owned businesses should consider signing up for that particular program so that they're part of that directory as those, those solicitations and contract opportunities start coming out.
That's great. Thank you so much. And that was a very concise explanation for all that your office does, because you do so much and your oversight is so wide reaching. So thank you for that. And if there is more information sought about that Small Business Reserve, they can go to just Google Small Business Reserve. I know obviously the Maryland.gov website would have that information, but is there a web page that can take them right to that information?
The most direct, if people see my email, you reach out to me and then I'll point them in the right direction. Again, we have 2 Small Business Reserve compliance managers that are sort of taking in everything that deals with that particular program, from its certification to the implementation of it, and then any support to help people sign up or register for the program itself. So if they were to reach out directly to me, otherwise they could go to our website, and it's not listed here, but that would be GoMD Small Biz, B-I-Z, .Maryland, spelled out, .gov. And at our website, they'll be able to get information specific to the SBR and eligibility for it and that kind of stuff. But again, if they were to reach out to me, I will connect them directly with the people that can help them out.
That's wonderful. And that is the beauty of events like this and having all of these resource partners, is they are so communicative and willing to help. And they may not be the end stop of what you need, but they will make sure you get connected to who you need. So thank you very much. We appreciate that. And Heather, you're monitoring the chat as we go out. I don't want to monitor that and mess up my screen share. So if you are seeing any specific questions, please jump in as we go through that, and we'll answer those questions as we're working with our resource partners. Next, we have Monica Randall from the Maryland Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And I want to say good morning. Tell us about PTech.
Good morning. Good morning. As a procurement specialist here, our focus is to take the small business that is legally registered in the state of Maryland and to pretty much teach them how to fish in the state, local, city, county, and federal government marketplace. So in doing that, that requires things like registration in sam.gov, what is beta.sam, locating procurement forecasts. Can you help us review or modify our existing capability statement, and just pretty much holding their hand through that procurement process. It can take years to actually get a federal customer to want to actually award you a contract. And I personally call those touch points. So we teach you about communication, not sending emails where you're spamming, utilizing your social media, such as Twitter, your Facebook, your LinkedIn page, as well as your website. So again, we are very focused on teaching you how to fish, not doing it for you, but teaching you what those procurement steps are and guiding you along the way and making sure that you get everything done. So that's our primary focus here, is all about procurement. Also with that, we provide training. So if you need to take a class on marketing, or you need a class on how to write a proposal, or you have no idea how to read an RFP or even know what a solicitation is, we have plenty of classes that can also help to guide you in conjunction with the one-on-one counseling.
And that's wonderful, because that's often what we hear is that process can be so overwhelming, and you kind of look at everything that needs to be done and you're not sure where to start, or you're defeated from the beginning because it does seem like there are so many moving parts and different pieces. So to have that training and have that guidance is such a great resource in our state. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Good morning, Todd Scott. Todd is with the Department of Housing and Community Development, and he's going to talk to us about the Neighborhood Works program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I feel this is pretty good. I was just on the phone yesterday with Lynn Paris's group, and I was speaking to Karen, Bonnie, and Amy. So I'm getting a double dose of Harford County, and I'm excited.
I love it. Welcome.
Thank you.
I hate to tell you, but Harford County is the best.
I know that, and I'm looking forward to getting some programs booked, some loan programs booked with Department of Housing in my division. So thank you for having me. It's exciting. And again, I know something's going to come out of these meetings between yesterday and today to get the Neighborhood Business Works program on the books in Harford County.
Wonderful.
We are excited. We have been recently having just tremendous success over the last couple of years. This program started over 20 years ago. At that time, it was a $500,000 per fiscal year program. We are now a $50 million per fiscal year program, and we're lending all throughout the state, and we need to get some deals in Harford County on the books. Our loan program starts at $100,000. It's the smallest amount, and the project can't lend no more than $5 million per project. I think one of the focuses that we like to look at is what type of impact does this project that we lend on have on that neighborhood or that community? So we focus on viability, job creation, and also, again, impact to the community. So, and we also partner with banks as well for gap financing, but we can have the ability to be in first position as well. Our loan program is very flexible. We're not like a bank in the aspect of we're focusing on the numbers. Again, we focus on what can it do and create in the community. I want to share one story about how our program has been impactful. I'll look at this one program, this one project that we financed some years ago. And if you're familiar with this area down in Hyattsville, the restaurant, I share this story all the time because it shows what this program is all about. There was a project where a restaurant owner could not get financing. He came to us, he was able to get financing. It was a blighted area down in Hyattsville. The restaurant is named Franklin's. We were able to give him some financing for his restaurant. And from that day, his restaurant got funded. A lot of foot traffic started coming into that area. So it turned a blighted area into a very vibrant area. And when that happened, other businesses started moving into that area. When that happened, other potential borrowers came to us for finance, and we were able to finance that entire area in Hyattsville on Route 1. It's down the street from DeMatha High School. That's the impact, a great story of a good impact that this program has provided. And it's done this throughout the entire state. So I'm pretty excited. Looking forward to doing some things in Harford County. So thank you for having me.
We look forward to it as well, and thank you for your information. And one of my favorite sayings is that rising tide lifts all ships. And as you were telling that story, that's what it reminded me of. It really is that neighborhood feel, and you want the neighborhood to work. So if your program is able to assist one, then it's tenfold, and it really starts to blossom. And the beauty in that and the success it's one of those feel goods that you just can't compare to. So thank you for the work that you do, and we're looking forward to working with you in Harford County.
Thank you for having me.
Let's see why. Is my screen not going forward? All right. Next up, we have the Better Business Bureau, and I know we have Joanne with us today. Joanne, are you speaking, or is Sean speaking today?
Sean is going to speak today.
Perfect. Good morning. I saw you log on earlier, but I hadn't seen Sean, so I wanted to make sure that I did not incorrectly introduce someone or exclude someone. So good morning and welcome. Thank you for being here. Talk to us about the Better Business Bureau.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you for having us. And today I am talking on behalf of our accreditation program with BBB. Most people know BBB or will say BBB is a complaint or the place you go to when somebody has a complaint. We're so much more than that. And just a couple of stats, last year we had 1.4 million complaints, which that is a hefty number, especially in a year during a pandemic. But we also had over 200 million inquiries of buyers looking for businesses that they can trust. And that's what we hang our hat on. Our mission is to be the leaders in advancing marketplace trust. And we've been doing this for more than 100 years because we know that when trust breaks down between businesses and their buyers, conflict can arise. And so with the accreditation program, as a trusted and fully vetted accredited business, you gain access to tools that help you build and retain credibility with your buyers and other stakeholders. And why do businesses join? Well, we did a survey recently, and our accredited business said 84% of our accredited businesses said that it builds trust with their customers. 83% said it increases credibility of their business, and 69% says it shows that we care about their customers. And just to kind of give you a little bit more notes of some more accredited businesses, we had one accredited business say that they believe that business owners can benefit by using BBB, and they found it very rewarding, and our clients feel very secure when they see that they are an accredited business. Another accredited business said BBB has a solid reputation and is a trusted brand. Accreditation adds legitimacy and reliability to your company's name. So again, we're just here to just make awareness of our accreditation program and helping businesses take the next step to be held to a higher standard and wanting to be held to a higher standard to show their customers that they care.
Absolutely. We could not agree more as a Chamber of Commerce and looking at relationships. And that is really what we see with our members and looking from the B to C side, so that business to community side, the community wants to know who they can use that is reputable and that they can trust and have that relationship with. And we often refer to the BBB for different inquiries or questions or issues that arise, because we know that you all do great work and really do have an accreditation process that is not comparable to anything else. And we appreciate what you do for our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Liz Rodriguez. Liz is with the Department of Labor, and she works for the Workforce Development and Adult Learning aspect of the Department of Labor, and she acts as the Regional Business Solutions Consultant. And we're going to hear from Liz right now, and then another aspect of the Department of Labor, because the Department of Labor offers so many various services. She's going to talk to us about what she does. So good morning, Liz.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Angela, and the rest of our partners for putting together this wonderful event. Like Angela said, my name is Liz Rodriguez, and I am a Regional Business Solutions Consultant for the Maryland Department of Labor. I work for the Division of Workforce Development and Adult Learning, and I serve Harford and Cecil counties, also known as the Susquehanna region. I just wanted to briefly let you all know about the state services and resources that we offer and that are available to businesses in our area. Very important to mention that all of our services are at no cost to employers or job seekers. We coordinate workforce programs to help businesses stay competitive in today's economy, whether it's weak, kind of like right now, or strong. So we make sure of two things. First, that we have businesses that are staffed with skilled employees, and number two, that we have individuals with access to employment and training resources. Our business services staff at the American Job Centers, or workforce centers, we like to refer them in this area, we offer support, or our business services teams offer support with talent recruitment, oftentimes with virtual hiring events. Just yesterday, we collaborated with our partners, SWIN, the Susquehanna Workforce Network, in a very successful event. And we're already getting ready for the next one in March, the 11th. We also offer support with registration within the Maryland Workforce Exchange website, which is a robust online workforce services system for connecting employers with job seekers. It's great. And if you as a business are not registered, I strongly suggest that you do. All that we require is that you are in good standing with the Department of Assessments and Taxation. We also provide facilitation of tax credit information and labor market information. We also have veteran services. You're going to, like Angela said, we're going to hear from our local veteran employment representative. We also provide the federal bonding program for our returning citizens and much more. There are also resources for training employees and for employee retention and layoff aversion. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone. We provide registered apprenticeships that are really growing in Harford County now. We also have wonderful programs like the Maryland Business Works, which is our incumbent worker training program. We provide funding for EARN. We also provide rapid response services for those are swift services to businesses that are temporarily or permanently ceasing operations. So my information is available, and if you want to reach out, please feel free. Like I said, whether you're a startup business or you are an existing business, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I'll be more than glad to answer any questions you may have regarding state services. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. Now I'd like to introduce Jorge Cruz, who works in the Veterans Employment aspect and office of the Department of Labor. Good morning, Jorge.
Good morning, everyone. Everybody see me or hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, good morning, everyone. Buenos días para todos. My name is Jorge Cruz. I'm a local veteran employment representative with the Maryland Department of Labor. So I speak both languages, English and Spanish, so I get a plus to help all those individuals who are veterans who speak the language, Spanish. So that's a big plus for me. I work, of course, out of the American Job Center in Bel Air, at the beautiful town of Bel Air. And also I cover the area of Cecil County, wonderful staff at Cecil County in collaboration with the Susquehanna Workforce Network. So as a local veteran employment representative, what do I do? I network with employers. I am network with the federal government. I network with the federal contractor employer, union, university, college, small businesses in order to obtain information and market that information to our veterans. So along with me, we have a staff of DIVA, which are Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialists. They're mentioned, we work together. They are the front line, and they're the one who meet face to face with those veterans who bring a significant barrier to employment. That is, for example, those individuals lacking a high school diploma, those individuals who are in the age group of 18 to 24, just those individuals as well who are in the low income area, and service-connected disabled veteran. This is just to mention a few. There are more categories. So what they do, the disabled veteran or DIVA, what they do is case manage those individuals face to face, and they create an individual employment plan to ensure that at the end of the day, those individuals, or at the end of the week, or at the end of the month, those individuals are job ready. And along working together with them, again, I just ensure that that resume is sent to my network with, again, federal contractor employee, the federal government, i.e. Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, CACI, Raytheon, Mantech, Social Security Administration. So I got the network from the inside that make my life easier. And in addition to obtain feedback, how did that resume go? What happened? And what can I do better next time to help that individual? And this is a great program that we are all over the state of Maryland, all over the United States, but here in Maryland is working great. And thank you to that, to the leadership of our veteran program manager, Mr. Leo Thomas, and the assistant of my supervisor, Rosalind John. Again, last thing I want to mention is that if you come across any veteran, any type of veteran that need assistance, training, whatever the case might be, okay, just refer them to us so we could help them and accomplish the mission to ensure that that individual is well treated. Again, thank you for your support and looking forward for any feedback from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. And I love that you utilize the word network, because that really is what it's all about, and making sure you have a net that works and can be helpful to you. So thank you very much. Speaking of veterans opportunities, I want to welcome Joe Giordano, who is going to talk to us about a new opportunity in Harford County called Project Opportunity that is focused on successful veteran business. So good morning, Joe.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see a lot of fellow partners that I've worked with across the state. Good to see a lot of you guys. Project Opportunity is the only free entrepreneurship training program offered in the state of Maryland for active duty, veterans, reserve, and guard personnel. We focus to those individuals who want to start up a business, and we also work with existing veteran small business owners who are struggling, looking to expand, or looking to pivot or revamp their business. We are extremely excited next month to do our first class in Harford County. The reception has been great. The Chamber, Economic Development have been great partners. They've made my transition into the area a lot closer. Our course is 30 hours. And what we do is we teach our participants how to research, write, and develop a comprehensive business plan. And at the end, we look to refer them to some of our other partners, such as SBA, SBDC, SCORE, to continue working. We also are able to provide free counseling and mentoring services to our graduates for as long as they want to work with us. And like I said, I'm just excited to be coming to Harford County and be able to offer this to the veteran population in the area.
Wonderful, thank you. And your website and email is there if anybody has any additional questions or wants to learn about this inaugural class, this kickoff class that we're gonna have. So thank you, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Terry Kearney. So Liz Rodriguez mentioned earlier the Susquehanna Workforce Network, and Terry works for what we affectionately call SWIN. That's the acronym world that we live in. And Terry's going to talk to us about what she does. So good morning, Terry.
Yes, good morning, everyone. And Angela, thank you for putting on this fantastic event this morning. Susquehanna Workforce Network is a private nonprofit. It's been in business for 38 years now, and we service both the Harford County and Cecil County area. And as Liz and Jorge both mentioned, we partner with them on a lot of activities. And what we do is have basically a dual purpose. One is to work with the job seekers and help them to become work ready. And that takes place at one of our 3 workforce centers. We have one in Cecil County on Route 40. We have one at the Swan Creek Shopping Center on Route 40 in Havre de Grace, and also one in Bel Air at the Mary Risteau Courthouse building. And at that location, there's opportunities for job seekers to prepare for applying for positions, such as seminars with how to write a resume, how to interview, how to find that federal job, because we have APG in our community. And also, if someone might need training to get that next job, we might be able to fund for them to go to, let's say, our local community college or various agencies where they would be trained so that they would be work ready for the next job that they're looking forward to pursue. I'm a business service rep, meaning that I call on the businesses of Harford County, and my main focus is to uncover what the business needs are, whether it be to hire new employees, or also to find out what type of training new hires and existing employees would need. So I partner with, as I mentioned, Liz and Jorge from the Department of Labor. We also work closely with Len Parrish's group, the Harford County Community and Economic Development. And we also partner with the Maryland Department of Commerce, because we all have various opportunities and grant funding packages that can certainly help you to start and grow your business. Most importantly is one of our best kept secrets is our on-the-job training program. That's a program that's federally funded. And when you're hiring people, just let me know, because there's an opportunity and a possibility that when you hire someone, SWIN might be able to fund their training for up to the first 10 weeks, and we might be able to pay 50% of that. And it's a great opportunity because the whole goal is to get people employed, but granted, oftentimes people will need training to be able to become proficient in what they do. We also have what we call our incumbent worker training for existing employees, and that's where it has to be, of course, pertinent to their particular training, and hopefully it might result in a increase in salary or promotion, but not necessarily. But in that opportunity as well, SWIN might be able to pay up to 50% of the training for that particular employee or multiple employees. But anyway, so other information, pre-COVID, we used to hold individual recruiting events for employers at our workforce centers. We haven't been able to do that, but we have gone ahead and created a hot jobs list where we publish that every Thursday morning and send that out. And it is growing. It's up to 5 pages now, and it's current openings for employers in both Harford and Cecil County. And then also, as Liz mentioned, we had a virtual hiring event yesterday that was very successful, and we certainly plan on doing more. And on closing, I just wanted to let you know that we here in Harford County have a great relationship with all of our partners. And if we can't provide to you the solutions that you need at the current time, we can help you most certainly put you in contact with someone else who can help you. And another thing is, I wanted to let you know, we have a business engagement committee meeting that is every first Tuesday of the month. In fact, we're having one this coming Tuesday. And it's a good way to learn more about resources in the community, and also to share what your activities and opportunities are. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Terry. I appreciate
Thank you.
Next up, I want to introduce Ryan Delgallo with the Small Business Development Center. And we work very closely with Ryan when we get a lot of inquiries about, I want to start a business, I want to open up this great idea. And we work with his office and Ryan to kind of point them in the right direction. And he's going to expand on his services in our next section of this morning. But I do want to introduce him in this resource panel to give a high view of what that office does and how he can be assistful. So good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Angela. So again, Angela, thank you. Heather, thank you. And all the resource partners. It's fantastic to be on here with you today. I'm seeing so many familiar faces that I haven't had the chance to see in a while. So again, thank you for the intro. My name is Ryan Delgallo. I'm with the Small Business Development Center. So we are funded in partnership with the SBA, so the Small Business Administration, the state of Maryland, and our local Office of Community and Economic Development. So what we do is we provide no-cost business consulting services for pre-venture, startup, and growth stage businesses. In the later part of this presentation, I'm going to go into detail about what we offer, the various services, and how we do so. So for right now, I want to leave it at that, so that way I don't repeat myself. But again, Angela, thank you very much.
Thank you. We're very excited to have you with us this morning. And again, the work that you do is amazing. And that relationship that we have, we value so much, because
thank you. Same here.
See these men and women who determine that they want to be their own boss and walking them through the process. And you're a great resource advocate and partner from that. So thank you.
Thank you.
We have additional resources like we talked about that aren't able to be here today. And again, this is only scratching the surface. So we will send these out, but if you have a specific question, if you have a specific need, please reach out to anyone on the call and they're going to be willing to help you. As Ryan talked about, he works out of the community college, and the community college actually offers entrepreneurial classes. So you can take a couple of those classes, you can actually take the full coursework, but that's great to have that resource in our own backyard at the community college. The Harford County Public Library, if you're not utilizing the library for the services, you really are missing out. And they have a business resources page. So whether that be some additional training classes that you want to take, some business-oriented books, please utilize these free resources that we have that are so rich in our county. The Latino Economic Development Center is another resource, as is the Maryland Hispanic Chamber. As a Chamber of Commerce, we have great relationships with our sister chambers throughout the state, and the Maryland Hispanic Chamber is a great partner and really advocates and supports that Hispanic community. TEDCO and DefTech, so these are oriented to the technology and innovation fields. If this is something that you are interested in and you see what TEDCO and DefTech provide right there, to have DefTech in our backyard is pretty darn cool. And this really helps a private citizen use federal labs and defense technologies to grow something that is not going to be used only in the military field, but in everyday use. And a lot of the products that we use today were born out of that military use. And now everybody walks around with an iPhone or an iPad or all of these great things. I also want to tell you about the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. We work with the gentleman who oversees this program. This is at CCBC in Baltimore County, but he is very much interested in working with businesses in Harford County, as there is not a program here, but it helps entrepreneurs get to that next level and looking at how to grow that business. So if you are interested in any of those additional resources or have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us about those. And before we go into our next session, I am going to stop sharing my screen and stop talking so that everyone can kind of digest what they have just heard about and look at how that resource, whether it be one or all that you heard about this morning, is going to be helpful. And you heard some of our resource partners reference that small business. And as an entrepreneur, you may be flying solo, but a small business can be hiring one employee, hiring two employees. It doesn't need to be multiple employees that our resource partners are able to assist with. So I'm going to kind of call on Terry and Liz and some of those other resource partners who work in that field of employee training and helping the employer with growing their workforce. When you reference small business, what are some of your minimums? Do you have programs that are tailored to the owner-operator that's looking to expand and be able to support a true small business? So I'm going to ask you first, Terry, when you work with businesses, what are your parameters around that small business aspect? If you have a business of 10 employees, what's out there and available?
Well, Angela, what we do is we, of course, work with any size business. And for example, when we go ahead and uncover the needs of what that particular business has, particularly a small business, in those cases, oftentimes what we can do is help them. And the same thing with the Department of Labor with Liz and Jorge, as far as finding qualified candidates for their open positions. So that's where we encourage them to post their jobs on the Maryland Workforce Exchange for free. Also, they can use our hot jobs listing, because that hot jobs listing goes out to all of our partners in Harford and Cecil County, including Harford Community College, Towson University, Cecil College, Department of Rehabilitative Services, the ARC, anyone who is helping people become employed. Another place where we even send the hot jobs list to Tabitha's house. We send it to homeless shelters, places like that, anywhere they are trying to get people back to work. So as far as making that match, we also encourage those employers to, you know, as I mentioned, post their jobs on the Maryland Workforce Exchange, and that way they can connect with those individuals who are looking for jobs. Another key component is our training, and we do, if it's warranted, we can fund for people to be trained. So they might go up to Cecil College for CDLA truck driver training, or they might go to Harford Community College for human resources training to get their SHRM certification. So that's another way that through our workforce centers with this job seekers that we help, we can make that connection with the small businesses. Another thing is labor market information. We provide labor market information that's tailored to their particular need. They just might want to know what comparable employers are paying for comparable positions in Harford County. So of course, we can drill down through the software package that we have and give them exact labor rates that they're looking for. Also, there's various opportunities to help them to, you know, once we uncover their specific need, as I mentioned before, we can certainly, if we can't help them, we can certainly put them, you know, in, you know, contact with somebody like Ryan, you know, as far as SBDC.
Yep. Thank you. Liz,
Okay.
any of our resource partners really want to talk about that small business piece, and that, you know, you don't need to have 500 employees. You really can support the mom and pops and the smaller business. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Liz.
Absolutely, Angela. In addition to, we basically provide similar services to what Terry was mentioning. We basically start out with a needs assessment and you know, to pretty much address what are the pressing needs for this new employer. I mean, what are you really needing assistance with? And pretty much the first thing that we do is we encourage them to register for the Maryland Workforce Exchange, because it is a great resource, not only for job seekers, but also for employers, because you can find talent there. You can go in. Once you create the account, you are able to look for talent. You can look for qualified individuals, and you can look at resumes. You can even create a virtual recruiter where you will be receiving notifications on job matches, participants. In addition to that, we also have wonderful programs like the Maryland Business Works right now is pretty big, where we can offer you reimbursement, tuition reimbursement on any certifications that you may need. So let's say that you have an employee and you want to upskill his skill set. You want to make sure that, for example, just to throw an example out, a project manager. So you feel that your project manager needs a little bit more education in terms of, what his duties. You can send them to get a PMP, a very nationally recognized certification. That way, this person will receive a PMP, and we're able to fund up to 50% of that tuition. The cap is $4,500 per individual, per employee, but I mean, $4,500 is good money for you to upskill your workforce. So we're not only in the business of recruitment assistance, but also we can provide you with other business solutions, that programs that are currently existing that can help you get going, can help your business grow. And again, all of our services are at no cost to you. We have bilingual services, as Jorge mentioned. I'm also bilingual, hablo español. Again, we partner with the chamber, and I love, like Angela said, the collaboration that we all have. This is actually beautiful because I am able to, based on your needs, direct you into, I've referred countless of businesses to the chamber, and they've come back to me saying, what a wonderful networking resource that is. Also Office of Economic Development, the Ryan delgallo. I mean, there's so many resources out there that I used to have my own business. I wish I had known that there were so many free resources available to a new startup business.
Absolutely. Thank you, Liz. I love when we all work together, it's amazing what can happen. So thank you. Thank you to all of our resource partners. We are at 10 o'clock, so we're going to go into our next session, which is starting and sustaining a business. And we are going to talk a little bit about, again, what resources are out there from the standpoint of state and local resources. And then we're going to get into what the Office of Community and Economic Development calls the BAIL program, which is banking, accounting, insurance, and lawyer. And these are a lot of the services that when you're just starting out, you're not exactly sure what you need to be looking for, best practices. So we are going to have some experts in the field in Harford County in that BAIL realm. First and foremost, I want to show you, I'm going to share my screen again, Maryland Business Express. And this is a website if you want to check it out and look on your own through a checklist as to what needs to be done. You've got your plan your business, start your business, manage your business, and grow your business. And if you look, you see the website is businessexpress.maryland.gov. And you can go through, if you want to plan your business, okay, how am I starting out? You can look at find business funding, picking a location, choosing a business structure. So again, a lot of these things that we're going to talk about later on and hear from the experts, and Ryan's going to talk to us about too, figuring out what you need to do. How do I do this? I have this amazing idea and I know that it's going to be successful, but where do I start? So businessexpress.maryland.gov is helpful. And if you want to talk to a person, I suggest that starting point is the SBDC office, and for Harford County, that go-to guy is Ryan delgallo, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Ryan.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Everyone can still hear me? All right, great. So again, thank you, Angela. So I want to dive into a little bit more details about the Small Business Development Center and really what it is that we do. So in 1988, that's when the Maryland Small Business Development Center was funded. And on a state level, we are hosted out of the University of Maryland. On the local level, which is the Northern Region SBDC, we're located out of Harford Community College, where not only do we serve Harford County, but we also serve Cecil, Carroll, and Baltimore. So in each county, there is a consultant. And as mentioned, I am the business consultant in Harford County. I'm also our advanced technology consultant, where I work with Aberdeen Proving Grounds. I work with the NSA. I work with the Department of the Navy, and we transfer and develop technologies. So the way that the SBDC defines technology is if you have the potential, right? So it doesn't mean you have to have this kind of in place yet, but if you can get a patent, if your idea is patentable, or if you have a patent issued already, you become a tech client. And there are many more resources that we'll be able to open for you to assist. And Angela, a few minutes ago, was asking some of the resource partners here, do I need to have 500 employees in order to work with this program? Not at all. I have literally had clients come to my office when we were meeting in person with an idea written on a napkin, okay? And they now have a thriving business in Bel Air. All you need is the idea and the passion and the go-get-it attitude to work with the SBDC, and I would be happy to help you. I've been with the program for about 7 years now. I absolutely love it. I would say about 95% of our consultants are also entrepreneurs, typically in the counties that we serve. And throughout that time frame, I've helped launch about 170 companies in between Harford County and Cecil County, and we help our clients find money. So typically, that's always the biggest conversation that we have is, well, I had this idea for a company. I see people smiling, right? I'm sure we've all had that problem before, right? I have this idea. I need to get money. How do I do that? So I just want to clarify the SBDC, we're not a lender. Typically people will see that we're funded by the SBA. They think we do SBA loans. That is not the case. I work with our local resource partners that are lenders, maybe they're preferred SBA, and I will walk you through that process on how to get the money. Now, it's not just where we're going to have a conversation. I'm a certified expert business plan advisor. That's one thing that I love to focus on, and is to build the business plan. But honestly, before we dive into that, I would recommend for everyone to go to marylandsbdc.org. And if you're looking into starting a business, to take our Smart Start assessment. It's a free 10-minute quiz per se that really gets to know you. Are you ready to take on this venture of being a small business owner? If you're not ready to work 100 hours a week, if you're not ready to lose sleep at night, if you're not ready to have the stable paycheck coming in weekly or bi-weekly, perhaps entrepreneurship isn't for you, right? I'm seeing more smiles on here, so some of the guys that are in business already know what this is like, right? I see Eric Metz, he's smiling. He knows what it's like.
Right.
Right. So we want to make sure that everyone is fully aware of that before you dive into starting a business. Now, and it sounds kind of weird saying this, but if I can talk you out of starting a business, to me, that is just as much as a success as if you start and then you quit because you realize that it's not for you. So in my life, I have a business in Fallston. I have a business in Florida and one in Virginia. Typically, I have seen everything that can happen, whether it's happened to me personally or if it's happened to my clients. And I want to be able to help you work through that. And also, when you work with the Small Business Development Center, you don't just have access to me. We have 40 to 50 other consultants throughout the state of Maryland that all have different specialties. And I'll never pretend like I know everything. If there's a question that I receive and I don't know the answer to, more than likely, someone else within the SBDC or someone within the entrepreneurial ecosystem, which many of my resource partners are right here on this call today, I'm able to refer you to them. So if there's a part of your business that I cannot assist with, look at me as your small business liaison, and I will get you connected to who it is that you need to speak to. So typically, after you take that Smart Start assessment and you realize, okay, this is for me, let's jump on a phone call, or, when we're able to, let's meet in person. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know your strengths, your weaknesses. And I also want you to get to know me. So that way we can realize really how can we work together, and really help you progress. And once we have that idea, we need to write a business plan. You know, don't go, in my personal opinion, don't file your business first. Let's write the business plan and let's make sure that it's feasible. Let's help you with your market research. When you become a client of the Small Business Development Center, you gain access to our research database. We have a firm based out of San Antonio, Texas, that will provide market research for you for free. This is typically between a $1,500 to $2,500 value that you'll be able to receive. So if you need sample business plans, sample marketing, ring study analysis, traffic volume counts for your location, we'll be able to get that to you. And it's great additional information to provide to your lender, right? Print that information out, put that in your folder. Let's make that part of your loan package. Once we start gaining this information, I'm going to help you build a business plan. I just want to clarify, I cannot write it for you. I am asked that 10 times a day. I cannot do that work, but I can help you guide through it. We're going to start out with what problem are you solving, your solution, your market, your marketing, going all the way down to your financial projections. So if there's any SBA lenders on here, we know how that works. We need 1 year on month-to-month financial projections and then 2 years summarized. Again, I will help you put that together. I can't do it for you, but I will review it. So by the time when we submit it to your business banker, the chances of it coming back for, you know, any red markings on there, it's going to be limited. We've done a lot of these, and we want to be able to help you push it through so that way you get your money quick and you launch your company. Now, once you're actually in business, the services don't end there. We do have a large training availability throughout the state of Maryland. And what's great is that since everything is virtual right now, you can jump on a training that's launched in Prince George's County. If you want to jump on a training that's being offered in Salisbury, you have the option to do that. So if you want to learn how to write a business plan, how to perform financial projections, you know, jump on a training with a lawyer and ask questions. You know, should I be a sole proprietor, an LLC? What is an S Corp? I get that all the time. You'll be able to have your questions answered. So again, the SBDC has so many programs. Recently, with the emergency funding that came out of the SBA, we were able to hire a lot more staff members. So just as an example, I'm sure if you're in business and you're on this call here today, you more than likely have a website. When was the last time you really looked at your website? When was the last time you actually managed your SEO? You updated your photos, your wording, so that way you stay relevant. We have experts on staff that are website specialists that I can connect you with, and they'll tear apart your website for free. They're going to tell you, this is what you need to improve on. We need to fix this. This is not relevant anymore. Did you know this link is broken? You know, stuff that you probably don't realize. Same thing for your social media, your technology, your overall business processes. We have specialists that serve restaurants. We have specialists that serve retail businesses. And like I was saying, you're online, and I'm one of 4 technology consultants. So the SBDC, we're an invaluable resource, you know, just for the multitude of services that we can offer, the specialists that are on hand. And the biggest thing that I like to reiterate is that it is no cost. All we ask of our clients is that, hey, if I help you launch your company, if I help you receive a loan, just let me know. Okay. That's what keeps our funders happy. And that's all that we ask for in exchange for our services. So with that said, feel free to contact me. I'm sure my email will be provided at the end of this presentation here. It's rdelgallo@harford.edu. I'll be happy to help. If for any reason you're not in Harford County and you're still on this call, I'll help you get connected to the consultant in your area. But again, if you're in Harford County, I'll be here to assist you. I'm not going to turn anybody away. Always happy to help. And if you are experiencing issues with COVID, just know that I'm praying for you. I want to see your business succeed. We do have a sustainability guide that is available on our website, where we've compiled all the information that we can regarding the EIDL loan, the PPP, the state loans, state grants, how you qualify for the forgiveness. We'll be happy to walk you through that or gain that information again directly through our website. We also have many FAQs on there as well. When during the prime time of COVID, I don't know what the proper terminology is there for that. I was honestly answering phone calls and scheduling phone call appointments at 1 in the morning because that was the only time period I had available left to talk to people. We probably spoke to about 10,000 people within 30 days to help them with their business. And we received many, many, many questions. Not all of them we had the answers to, but we did try compiling them into one document where you'll be able to search it. So if you have have a question, it's more than likely already been asked and it'll be answered in that document. So with that said, I'm going to stop talking. Angela, I'm going to hand it back to you. I look forward to hearing from everybody else. And again, you'll know how to get a hold of me and the Small Business Development Center. So thank you.
Absolutely. Contact information will be shared, and so much great information, and everything you talked about is why we have some experts on the call right now. You talked about banking, and funding is obviously such a huge piece of what everyone needs, that money tree when you get into business. And it's my pleasure to welcome Steve Fitzgerald. He is the Vice President Relations Manager for Harford and Baltimore counties with M&T Bank and minority-owned business banking. And Steve's going to talk to us a little bit about what those banking needs really are, what banks are looking for, and what you need to have in place and be prepared for when you start a business. So I want to welcome Steve. Good morning, Steve. How are you today?
Pretty good. Thank you, Angela, for having me today. And,
can you turn up your volume a little bit if you don't mind?
I'm doing well, and thank you for having me today. I really do appreciate it. And Ryan, great job on your presentation. Really do appreciate it. I'm gonna see if I can share my screen.
Oh, let's make you a host, and we'll be able to do that.
You should be able to share it if there's a green button at the bottom that says share screen. Should be enabled for participants. But if you can't, we can make you a host and get that happen.
I can just do it without, it's okay. Basically, with a startup, it's very, very important that you have a solid business plan. Very important. And also surround yourself with trusted advisors that can help you along the way, help you along the journey. Because it's a long journey. It's not a race. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Okay, and that's something that you have to take into account, and that's something that you're going to experience ups and downs when starting a business. And today, when you finish working with Ryan, you're going to find out that you're going to need some funding to start this business. Now, for a mom and pop, it could be $3,000 up to $10,000 to start a business. For a larger business, we're looking at it could be anywhere from 10 to up to 200,000, depending on the type of business you want to start. Okay, so what I want to talk to you now about is about what every business owner should know when it comes to small business loans. Okay, and basically, small business loans is for business expenses, and you can use these loans for working capital, commercial mortgages, purchasing and equipment. The type of loans that you may need for your journey, for your small business, is maybe a term loan, which is a lump sum with a fixed term and repayment amount, and or maybe a business line of credit. A business line of credit is for short-term needs. What's good about a line of credit is that if I give you a line, approve you for a line for $25,000, and you start your business and you only need 1,000 of it, you only pay interest on that 1,000. Okay, so that's one of the benefits. Also, equipment loan. You may need an equipment loan, and that particular loan or the equipment can be used for collateral for your business. Provide some security for the loan. We move into the types of loans. We're talking about SBA. And fortunately, M&T Bank is the #1. Basically, we're in the top 5 across the country of doing SBA lending. We have our own SBA unit locally in Baltimore. And it's great for startups. It's very, very great for startups because, you know, starting a business can be very risky. And if you go SBA, M&T would actually do the loan, and then SBA would approve it. But what's good about an SBA loan is that it reduces M&T's risk of that loan. So it's a great vehicle to start your business. Now, when you come to me and you want to purchase that loan, there's some information that I need. Basically, I would need, if you are in business, I would need 3-year business financials. I would need 2 years a personal financial statement, and bring along your business plan, okay? And everything that you have working with Ryan, okay? That is very important. You can bring your resume because we need to know more about you and your business, which is very important. And also, we talked about the taxes already. Now, other documentation that you may need is loan history, bank statements, collateral that we talked about, the use of loans, and debt schedules. And now, what I like to talk about is to prepare you for is that when you go to see a lender, there's certain questions that you have to be prepared for, okay? And the number one question is, what do you need the money for, okay? That is very important, especially the word need. Successful banks, when they do lending, they lend based on need, not how much you want. You may want $1,000, but only need 200, okay? And that keeps the bank healthy, and it also keeps the borrower so they won't be overextended, okay? So we do a lot of work of analyzing all your materials, your projections, your business plan to come up with the amount that you need to start your business. What does your credit file look like? That's another question. That's a big piece of it, because basically that credit file, it has your credit score, and that will show the lender how you are managing your personal finances. I mean, are you paying your bills on time? Are you keeping your credit cards under 30% utilization? Okay, this is very, very important. So you want to have, for SBA loans, you want a credit score anywhere between minimum 620, 640. For traditional, it's 675. Okay, so that is very, very important. Making sure that you have your credit score. Now, how will the money be used? That's another question that the lender will ask you. So basically, with that, when they ask that question, try to be more detailed in your responses. You don't want to say, well, I need it for working capital, or I need it for a truck. Well, the lender wants to understand how, for example, for that truck, how that truck is going to impact your business to help it to grow and be sustainable. Okay, that is very, very important. So that's a good question. And also, how will you pay back the loan? Now, keep in mind, when you sign your name on the bottom line, the economy may be doing great, fantastic, right? But in businesses, we have ups and downs, right? And the economy is up and down. So we want to make sure that during the slow times or bad times, that you have a nest egg. You have money in the bank to cover any expenses during those slow times, but still be able to pay your, if you have a loan with us, make your payments, which is very important. The other question is your ability to pay. So basically that is strictly cash flow. How's money coming into your account, and what those funds are being used for. When those funds come into your account, most likely you're using those funds to pay for your fixed costs, which is business insurance, rent. It could be payroll, which is a big thing. You want to make sure you keep that going for your business. So, and also collateral, which we talked about before, which is to secure the loan and make the lender feel good, which is very important. To sustain a business, the best practices I have is that when you get up and running, talent is very important. It's very, very important, because you have that talent working for you and you want to keep them. And in order to keep them, you have to make sure that, you may have to get benefits for them, health insurance, life insurance. okay? Because you don't want them to walk down to the competitor because they offering that those benefits, okay? You want to keep them as best you can. You want to keep your superstars, okay? The second thing is it's always leadership, because your team look up to you. You got to be quick on your feet, a good decision maker, which is very, very, very responsible. Operation efficiency. So basically, you want to make sure that you cut costs as much as possible. Okay. You want to keep money in your business longer than you want to keep funds in your business as long as possible. Okay, for cash flow purposes. Also, other thing is making sure that you understand your competitors if you want to sustain your business, because when you understand your competitors, you have to innovate, because you want to dominate the marketplace where your business is. And if you're not dominating the marketplace, you're going to fall by the wayside. And one of the last things I would say is that do not be afraid to grow your business. You know, you got to keep going. If you're not growing your business is dying. Okay. And one more thing, know your customers, which is very, very important. Very important. Give the customer what they want this time around. Not what you want them to have. Okay. And that's how you dominate the market and also retain your business. So I hope that's helpful.
Very helpful, and you've hit on so many things, and it dovetails nicely into our other presenters this morning. You know, you talked about that responsibility and making sure you know what your business is going to do and what the financial uses are going to be, and really being able to look ahead, and that growth piece is so important. And just making sure it is detailed, because obviously if someone is trusting you with a loan, you want to make sure that you are going to be responsible with it as a business owner and utilize it for purposes to be successful. So thank you again. We'll make sure that we have Steve's contact information out to you. And Steve, if you had slides that you wanted to share, send them to me and I'll make sure I get it to all attendees. We'll make sure we get those out so everybody has not only your information, but what you were talking about. And like I said, it dovetails perfectly into our presenters, because next up we have Jeff Cordella, owner of Supporting Strategies, and he's going to talk about some of those accounting best practices that you need to be mindful of when you're starting and sustaining a business so that you can be successful. Good morning.
Good morning, Angela. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, good. Because yesterday I was on a call and they said I sounded like Daffy Duck. So just want to make sure. I'm going to try and share my screen. We'll see how this happens here. Disable participant screen sharing.
Jeff, if you don't have that option, let me know. I'll just make you a
co-host.
Okay. Now you should have that option.
Okay. And pick the right screen. Share. And let's see how this works. Let's go to presentation mode. All right. So can you see that screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. So we're going to talk about accounting and finance for emerging businesses this morning. And it's a little bit about me. I'm not going to go into all this, bore you to tears. Let's just say I've been at this game for a few decades, and I'm a numbers geek, and I like helping businesses get to understand their numbers and to leverage that information into helping their businesses grow and remain profitable. So you've started a business. There are some basic housekeeping matters that you want to take care of. Steve touched on some of them, like you want to separate the personal from the professional, right? You want to open a business bank account. You want to have a separate credit card for your business. You want to apply for an employer's identification number, an EIN for short. That helps to distinguish you from others. And if you ever have to share that information about your IRS status with a company in a Form W-9, for instance, you'll feel more comfortable giving them that employer ID than your personal Social Security number. you want to strongly consider talking to someone like Eric, who's coming up, a business attorney. And then you want to build a base of business advisors. So those are some of the fundamentals. We're going to do a little story about Jane Jones, the CEO and founder of Cyber Defense Services. It's a startup cybersecurity business in Aberdeen, fictitious. But let's say she's starting to sign on some customers. She's gearing up for hiring some employees, 4 or 5 employees. She succeeded at getting some seed capital to help her get things rolling, either through debt financing, like through an SBA loan from Steve, or from maybe an angel investor. And of course, she has vendor bills to pay. She has to pay her employees, and she has reporting requirements now to this new board of directors that the angel investor brought along. But most importantly, she really needs to invoice her customers and collect from them. So she's a typical founder, right? She's an excellent cybersecurity vulnerability analyst. She's a pretty good deal maker, and she's an innovator, makes things happen, right? While she's good at all that, she may not be so good at the bookkeeping and accounting side of the business. It's not generally a thing that someone with an engineering background wants to get heavily involved in. And so she might have a plan that Ryan has helped her put together for her business, but she might not have a plan for the business of running her business. And that pretty soon she might become overwhelmed if she hasn't thought about those types of things. So there are 3 important concepts that we talk about that contribute to a solid company financial foundation. 1 is consistency, 2 is controls, and the 3rd being cash. First, C, consistency. We focus on building standardized accounting procedures, and that is the foundation for consistency. We establish a chart of accounts. We record transactions consistently and timely. We implement accrual accounting, and I could go on for hours about accrual accounting. We won't here. And we perform monthly month-end close where we do reconciliations, and we do reports about your business and its viability. Here are some of the things that we use or that we focus on in terms of business processes that the accounting function needs to be concerned with. I'm not going to read all this because I don't have time today. And so how do you create consistency? Well, you institute the fundamental business processes. These are the things that drive your revenue, your expenses, and your cash activity. And then you implement software that helps standardize those transactions. And this is some software that we use. QuickBooks is the most widely deployed software, business software in the world, probably. You might use Gusto for your payroll. And then there are apps that we use to help manage the procedures and workflows. We want to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. Further inconsistency, it's the who, okay? This is a traditional chart of accounts, org chart for the financial roles within a company. We identify here the CFO being at the top of that organization, a controller, a staff accountant, but a startup company can't afford all of these people probably, right? So here's a more modern accounting and finance team, especially for emerging businesses, for growing businesses. You're going to probably value a more flexible arrangement with your accounting team. So instead of the full-time CFO, you'll probably contract with a part-time fractional CFO. And then you'll work with an outsourced accounting and controller team. And that way you have the flexibility, but you also get an experienced team that you look for in that traditional organization. And you'll notice one thing between these 2 slides that's consistent, that CPA firm. The CPA firm is invaluable. They provide that tax preparation that you need for compliance purposes, but they also provide advisory services. So, you know, as Steve mentioned, or maybe it was Ryan, what's an S Corp, right? That might be the right way to go. C Corp might be a good choice, or, you know, just an LLC and a partnership sort of an arrangement. The CPA is going to help you make those decisions. And then consistency is also about when. We want to do timely bookkeeping to keep things moving forward. You know, you want to make sure that your customers are invoiced appropriately, that your vendors and employees are paid on time. Employees love to be paid on time. Let me tell you, they will notice when that direct deposit doesn't hit their bank account. But you need to also have an accurate cash position to make those things happen. And then you want to look at your P&L, because that helps you know, it helps you measure your financial position and also the viability of your business. And, oop, did I hit that twice? No, okay. Sorry about that. It didn't move when I wanted it to. Okay, so Jane wants to be sure that her team has the pulse of the business at their fingertips. And she wants them to know their numbers. Okay, the numbers tell a story, I like to say. And this is tells her how her business is performing. And then with that knowledge, Jane can make informed decisions about today, but also about what she wants to be doing in the future. The second C, you're like, gee, when are we ever going to get to that one, right? An important part of your business is developing accounting controls, procedures, processes to focus on defining adequate, appropriate controls. You want to look at cash controls. Who has access to your cash accounts? You want to look at segregation of duties. Is the person setting up a wire transfer the same person that has the ability to approve that transaction? I can tell you some horror stories. You want to make sure that you have timely reconciliations on all your accounts and that you're performing a thorough review of your financial information at the end of the month. On the documentation side of things, you want to create a book of business processes, particularly around the financial implications. And in terms of data security, best practices would be to have things stored electronically in a secure server or secure cloud environment. And then there's nothing like an external audit or review to give you that fresh pair of eyes and objectivity about your numbers. The third C, cash. Cash is king, right? So Jane needs to manage her cash to maintain a healthy business path. She has to have her cash in order to have money in the bank to pay her employees and so forth. So we use 3 basic reporting tools. One is regular reconciliations, at least monthly. There are times where we're recommending weekly reconciliations when cash is kind of acute. This past year, there are a lot of businesses in that category. Then you want to review your monthly cash flow forecast, or you might, as some have done, do a 13-week rolling forecast so that you're really on top of things and know that you can rely on the picture that you're painting with those forecasts. And then a monthly review of the statement of cash flows. The statement of cash flows is different than your P&L, your profit and loss, right? And it's as important to know how you're using those funds, how those funds are flowing out of your business and coming in, obviously. Cash forecasting tools. I mentioned this past year, cash has been tight, right? In many scenarios. And so a cash forecast helps you to see where the money's coming from, where it's going, and to make sure that you stay on top of the health of your business. So to recap, the 3 C's. Consistency. It's about having business processes and utilizing software to facilitate that consistency. Establishing controls to know that your processes are functioning accurately and that they support the integrity of your financial data. And then cash is king, because without cash, it's hard to run a business, okay? So these are some of the benefits of a modern accounting and financial model, finance model. And I think number one and most important is concentrating on building your business, because you didn't get into the business to do the accounting and bookkeeping.
Amen. That was one of the comments I got, was that in the chat feature, someone said this is a perfect example of working on your business as opposed to in your business, and getting so weighed down into the minutia of what needs to be done. So
absolutely.
Thank you for putting your contact information out there, and you send me your slides. We'll make sure we get that out. So thank you.
Very good.
Next, I want to introduce Greg Bennett with Famous and Spang Insurance. Steve talked a little bit about earlier with benefits. So even from the employee standpoint of benefits, if we kind of take it right back to the starting line, when you decide you want to start your business, you definitely need to make sure that you are insured and covered and prepared for all of the unexpected things that could come your way with owning a business. So I would like to say good morning to Greg Bennett, and can you talk to us about some of the best practices and those needs from the insurance side in a business?
Sure. Good morning, Angela, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me on here. I have some big shoes to fill. Everyone prior to me has laid out some fantastic information, and based upon my notes, I'll probably be a little repetitive in certain areas, so just bear with me. But it's all good information, and that's what you need to get your new business established, or if it's an existing business, to continue to sustain the work that you're doing. Just a little bit of background. I'm from Famous and Spang Associates. We're located in downtown Aberdeen, where we've been since 1909. We are a property and casualty independent insurance agency. We're licensed in Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Virginia, the Carolinas, Kentucky, Tennessee, and some other states, depending on client needs. So we do represent, the immediate area. Obviously, being based in Harford County, that's the vast majority of our businesses here, or Cecil or Baltimore, but we do expand out. As far as what we do, we handle personal insurance, so business, home, or say not business, home, auto, umbrella, boats, power sports, things like that. Small and mid-sized business is kind of our sweet spot. Farms, and then we get into surety, or what some folks call bonds or bonding. Again, that's our bread and butter. But from a business standpoint, the products that we generally deal with on a day-to-day basis, and that would probably be most important for a new business starting out, would be commercial general liability, property coverage, inland marine coverage, commercial auto, workers' compensation, maybe professional liability, depending on what your business is and what you're doing. Employment practices liability. So if you start out and you have employees immediately, that's a consideration. And then the last piece that's really kind of come on in the last few years, that sometimes I feel doesn't get enough of a talking point, is cyber liability. We're in this environment that we're on right now. It's a great example of maybe why we might need that type of coverage. But that's just to give you kind of a high level idea of what we do and on a day-to-day basis. To get started, I would say that you really need to be prepared. And when I look at the list of professionals on here with me, I would say go talk to Ryan. Ryan will give you an idea of where you need to go and the steps of the process, and help kind of lay that out there. Eric hasn't talked yet, but go see Eric and find out legally what ramifications are there. What do you need to start the business? How do we set it up? What's the best way to protect yourself? And he'll provide that to you. Go talk to Steve. Find out how are we going to finance this operation? The cash flow, all that's so important. And then ultimately you're going to come up with Jeff and myself, go see Jeff and find out, okay, well, from a tax standpoint, maybe from payroll, or, what do we need to know there? So every aspect of this panel is being touched, and they're all equally important. They're very different. They all come together, but you need to build your team. And you really need to look at it as, each one of these specialties is an outsourced member of your team. Even if you're a sole proprietor out by yourself, let the specialties handle their unique area and provide you that guidance that you need to get off the ground and be successful long term. One of the big areas that everyone's mentioned is to have a plan. From an insurance standpoint, what I always tell prospective clients, come see me early, explain to me what you're doing, but then come see me at the end, and then we'll get the ball rolling. Because what happens in the process is our job is to identify risk and to mitigate risk. So if you come to me early in the planning process, we can kind of talk about what you think you want to do and ferret out any issues that may arise. It gives us some time to think about it a little bit more. And when you come back, ultimately, you'll have your business plan more solidified. You'll have more numbers, whether they're projected numbers if you're getting started, or if they're actual numbers if you're currently in business, which are that's what almost the entire insurance policy is based around. Have your business plan, have that written business plan laid out. We need to see what you're doing, what you expect to do, what your short, medium, and long-term goals are. Again, those number projections. If you're starting your business and you're it's a Main Street American business, maybe you have an ice cream shop, but you want to get into more products besides just ice cream. We need to kind of understand, how we need to set things up, and also from a market access standpoint, what companies we need to go to that will provide you the best coverage for the money that you're spending. Other things we need to know, what business type? How are you setting up your business? Is it an LLC? Is it a S corp? Is it a C corp? Or are you just a sole proprietor out there on your own? All of that matters when we're trying to protect your assets. We need to understand that your business is set up on LLC, but you're driving your truck or your car that's titled in your personal name. What ramifications does that have, and what exposures are present to you, as you get started? Other things I talked to before: do you have employees? If you don't have employees, there's not as much a concern. But if you do, you're required to carry workers' compensation coverage for those employees. And then we need to know, okay, because you do have employees, maybe you're an active participant in the business. Do you also want to be covered, or do you not? Do you want to pay that money and have protection, or is that a risk that you're willing to take? Where are you operating? Are your operations all in a Harford County? You never leave the confines of the county? And specifically, no one cares if it's county related, but state to state, we do care. Are you traveling to Pennsylvania? Are you going to Delaware, Virginia, DC? Or are you going all over the country? Are you going out of the country? Where are your products coming from? Are you repackaging things? So there's a lot of questions surrounding where your work's being done, where your products are being sold, and we get into those details. Lastly, around this are there any contractual obligations? So I'll give you an example. You go see Steve. Steve lends you $100,000. Well, I can tell you that Steve is going to want certain things to be on the insurance policy, so we need to know that. We list them as a mortgagee. But maybe you're a contractor, you're getting into that business, and you're a subcontractor and you're working for a larger general contractor. Well, they want to be named as an additional insured on your insurance policy. We need to know that. Do you need a waiver of subrogation? We need to know that. So understand who you're going to be working with and what their specific demands are, because a lot of times, if you work in that environment, the big dog up the hill from you is going to be demanding a lot more than you may realize. And so you need to understand that from a cover standpoint and a financial standpoint, because it does have direct impact on you. So just some things to think about. Other thing is, in today's day and age, with the media and advertisements, we've been conditioned as a society to think that insurance is a product you pull off the shelf and you buy this box. Insurance is not the same. Not all insurance is not the same. So you as a consumer really need to understand what it is that you're buying. And if it looks too good to be true, that may be true. If product A that you have a proposal on is $1,000 and product B that you got a proposal on is $6,000, I can guarantee you that there's a difference in the product. And it may not matter to you, and if it doesn't, that's okay. But if it does matter to you, you need to understand the inner workings of, maybe there's a specific cause of loss that's excluded on proposal A that's included on coverage on proposal B. That's very important to my business. And if I go with the cheaper option, I'm left exposed for that peril. So you just need to understand and make sure you're asking the questions and doing your due diligence on your end. That's also, as a consumer, that's your responsibility as well.
Hey, great points, and just so grateful for that information. And we have seen in certain circumstances where that has happened to business owners, where they assume that they are covered, didn't really work with a professional, got something offline, didn't have it explained to them, and then some type of issue or catastrophic event arises, and then they think they're covered and they do not have coverage or not adequate coverage, and that definitely impedes their businesses. So it's, again, working on your business and instead of in your business and hiring the professionals. So any last best practices or food for thought before we turn it over to Eric?
Yeah, the last piece is just around the whole idea of risk management. There's 5 principles: avoidance, retention, sharing, transfer, and loss prevention. So do you avoid a risk? Do you stay away from it? Do you retain it, meaning you take on the risk yourself? Do you share the risk, which we're not going to get into, it's more healthcare related? Do you transfer risk, meaning you buy insurance? Or do you use loss prevention measures, which are safety plans to protect yourself without having to pay for additional coverages? So those are all things to think about. I really appreciate you guys giving me some time to chat.
Oh my goodness, no, we appreciate you and your expertise, because again, kind of what Ryan said, he may not have that resource, but he knows how to get it. And that's really what this is all about, is not necessarily, being an expert in what you're doing and leaving it to the professionals for everything else. So thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Lachlan, who is our lawyer and lawyer extraordinaire in Harford County. He is very well versed in Harford County business and does a lot to support chamber, and is actually a past chair. And so we are grateful for Eric being here, and he handles making sure we are legally compliant and minding our P's and Q's, and going to share best practices with you today as a business owner. So welcome, Eric. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for including me, Angela. Always appreciate it. And I feel like I'm in really good company. There's a lot of smart and experienced people here. And one of the things I like doing about things like this is I always take something away for my own business, no matter when, meeting new people and new practices. So it's always good. I want everybody to just stop for a minute what you're doing and think of your favorite lawyer joke. Oh, no, wait. So 2 things just happened. 1, I got Barry Glassman's smiles back. But number 2, some of you are a little bit mean because you're smiling too much. And I can tell the ones of you that are smiling too much. But at some point, tell me what the joke was, because I want to know anyway. I'm a partner with the law firm of Schaefer, McLaughlin and Stover. And we're a local law firm representing businesses and business owners, but the individuals and families that make up those businesses, because we're all people at the end of the day. I've been practicing law in Harford County for over 25 years, and a tremendous amount of that time was spent, as Angela said, supporting the chamber, including acting as its chair and providing pro bono assistance. And a tremendous amount of that time was spent in Mr. Parrish's offices or with his offices, including serving as the chair for the Economic Development Advisory Board for over 10 years. I'm really looking forward to the questions that come for this group, this panel. So I don't want to go too deeply into the importance of legal services, maybe just some things that can help a small or minority-owned business earn the upper hand, because that's what we want to do today. So number one, think about risk. And this is where Greg is absolutely correct. In the grand scheme of things, what Greg and I do is extremely similar. It's about identifying and mitigating risk, or I say managing and moving it. Where does that risk appear for the business? Well, it's going to appear as your contractual liability, your intellectual property liability and risk, employment liability and risk, professional liability for whatever it is that you do as a professional. And in that regard, I have to give a disclaimer because I'm the lawyer. So nothing in this discussion is intended to constitute individualized legal advice. These are comments that are simply informational, and it doesn't form the attorney-client relationship. Although for those of you on who I have that relationship with, thank you. So it's not all about risk, and this is the other part of what I do. It can also be about opportunity, right? So it's being prepared to enter into that contract, being prepared to share your intellectual property and your ideas, being prepared to have employees and contractors and to classify them properly, being prepared, Ryan, to turn your napkin into a NAICS code. You know, being prepared to turn your napkin into a non-disclosure, turn your napkin into a new relationship. You know, pretty planning is easy. You're all smart. You have potential, you have energy, you have drive. It's the implementation that's going to distinguish you, that preparedness. And that's where having your legal ducks in a row can make a difference. Jeff's example of the engineer who isn't necessarily the best with the financial portion of it, that's always true. Not every chef is good at running the front of the house. You know, there are times when they need to stay in the kitchen. But the difference, and this is why it's so important to have the team, is there is a difference between information and advice. Information and advice. So it's like Greg said, go ahead and get that policy off the internet. That's fine. Yeah, read it. They'll give you a whole list of what it says. You won't understand the policy because it's off the shelf. Go ahead, legal Zoom your business. Great idea. You'll get all kinds of information telling you the best thing to do, even when those ideas go like this. So understand the difference between information and advice. So universally, where you're all going to see that is contracts. Those pesky words. No matter what you do, you're dealing with contracts. I'm going to offer, instead of focusing on that because you see that, I'm going to give you kind of 3 other quick areas that you may want to focus on as a smaller minority business. The first would be the choice of business entity. That can be based on the size of your business. It could be the type of business that you are and that you're doing. So are you going to want to be prepared, for example, to be entering a joint venture with someone else? Are you going to want to be prepared to be a franchise? You know, so sometimes it's not just what you are, but what you're doing. Then, of course, there are tax considerations. And what's your plan for the future? You know, do you want this business entity to be a gorilla or a gazelle? Are you going to be the market? You're going to create your market and be the biggest you that's out there? Or do you want to be the small thing that's going to grow really fast and rise and look like a shiny penny so someone will buy it from you? Those things make a difference in what you choose to do too. So choice of business entity beyond just the typical ideas. The next one would be employees and contractors. Adding people to your team can be exciting, but doing so properly is crucial. There are exposures to tax, unemployment, wage considerations, and if your classification is wrong, you can invite all kinds of headaches. So often the response is, well, Maryland's an at-will state, so I'm not really worried about it. It's all just at will. I'll do what I want. That's not really a good understanding of what that phrase means. It doesn't mean that you can't, for example, have a contract with an at-will employee. It's just that you're boxing in everything other than the term or the duration of the engagement. So there's all kinds of risks that you can manage and move, even in an at-will situation. It doesn't just mean that because you call someone a contractor that they don't still walk and quack like an employee duck. So it's not just the label that you give them. It could be so much more than that. And again, that means workers' comp, unemployment, and wage liabilities that were probably the very thing that you weren't prepared to take on to begin with, and that you were trying to avoid to begin with. So doing it right legally makes a huge difference. The third, and I'll just add this nugget because a couple of people mentioned it, and Ryan mentioned it, when you're dealing with technology, and it doesn't have to be you know, technology from an engineering stance. We've got some friends on the call now who have a restaurant. You know, sometimes literally your intellectual property is your special sauce. I'm going to get that recipe from you, Jazz. I'm going to. Sometimes it really is. And so what I'm talking about is a non-disclosure agreement. It's a great way to allow you to open your conversations without exposure, a great way to lend, you know, other people, allow them to lend their expertise to you without exposing what it is that your idea is, without giving away your unique value proposition. It creates a safety net, a safety environment, safe environment for you to have that conversation, whether it's with an investor or with another expert in your industry. So I hope that you find today's discussions information and helpful. You know, Harford County really does have a climate that's fertile for business success. I'm obviously a big fan. Our firm is full service for businesses, and so is Harford County as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being such a great partner and advisor and resource for not only the chamber, but so many businesses. And it is great knowing, again, I have that expert to make sure we as a 501c6 are operating within our bylaws and make sure we're checking our boxes and staying in those contracts. So thank you so much, Eric. I want to thank our entire panel. So Ryan Delgallo, Steve Fitzgerald, Jeff Gradella, Greg Bennett, and Eric McLaughlin. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It was a lot of great information and food for thought to take away. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll make sure that your contact information is shared with the group. So thank you. All right, we're right at 11 o'clock, and we have been enjoying this presentation for 2 hours, sitting at our computers, and typically we would have some breakouts so we could get up and move around, but we don't have that given our virtual format. So I would like everyone to just kind of take a deep breath, pull your shoulders back, relax, get set up. Yes, exactly. And we've talked about starting a business, sustaining a business, and now we are very excited to talk about growing a business. And we have some amazing business owners with us this morning that are really going to talk about what it takes to not only start, sustain, but also grow a business. And that's exactly what they're doing in Harford County. So it is my pleasure to welcome Jazz and Cassandra Tucker, who own Island Spice Grill and Lounge, Eric Metz, who owns Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and we have Dr. Roshlin and Dr. Joyce Harold, who own Maryland Spine Institute. And again, if you don't have your screen on speaker view, please do so, because this is a lot of great information, and they're going to talk to us about their business journeys, the blood, sweat, tears, smiles, all of those things to be a business owner, sleepless nights. And these are businesses that have literally weathered the storm over the past 12 months and have kept those smiles that the county executive has talked about in the beginning on their faces. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, Drs. Rashstein and Joyce, and Cassandra and Jazz and Eric. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Please feel free to unmute yourselves. What we are going to do now is really just have some questions of you and talk about your business success and what it has meant along your journey. So, you know, Eric, we have Cassandra and Jazz who have that restaurant And we have Eric Metz, who's a franchisee and can talk about business a little bit differently from that standpoint, and is looking at opening up some locations. And then, of course, we have the doctors with us who are going to talk about that realm of being a business owner, because at the end of the day, doctors, if you have your own practice, you're a business owner. So I want to welcome Eric Metz and say good morning. Eric, if you have not been to Tropical Smoothie, please do so. The Detox Island Green is my favorite. And you had, I love your story, because you had a business that you started that was Tap Snap. So that was a photo booth that you knew you were going to utilize that business to open this Tropical Smoothie business. So can you quickly talk about, that idea and that brainchild, as to how you planned your steps and knew what it was going to take to get you where you were today?
Yes. Thank you, Angela. And actually, I want to say thank you to all the speakers that spoke before. I mean, if somebody's not using everything that every last person had to say this morning, then they're doing it wrong. I did it wrong. So I'm going to explain that real quick, but I did it wrong initially. And all the knowledge and resources that they have and possess, everything that Ryan Delgado said, believe me, you need to use the resources that are out there. But a little bit about me, it's myself, my wife, Dawn. I retired from the military back in '06. I went back on as a government contractor after about 6 months of being bored and driving my motorcycle everywhere. And so I became a government contractor, and I turned and left. I went, during the BRAC change, I went down to Virginia, stayed down there for about 4 years. And in that process, in 2009, I saw Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I would leave. I had an apartment down there, so I'd come back, on Friday, and I'd go back down on Monday. And I had to eat healthy as much as I possibly could. And then I saw this place, and I said, boom, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to eat at this place every day until I get sick. And I did. And then after probably about a month, I got with the owner and I said, how can I get this business? And he explained it to me, and I said, I can't afford that. Who can afford $500,000 to open up a business? Because I'm the type of person, I didn't want to borrow any money. So this is where I'm going to where I did some things wrong. So I didn't want to borrow money because I didn't want a debt. I wanted to stay debt free. I didn't want to turn around and when people say you got to spend money to make money, you really do. As much as I hate to say it, you do. So what I did was I loved it. I went through the process. I went to this owner. I went to a bunch of owners. I saw how the business was running. I got all the way down to the nit and gritty of everything of it, to know how it is, to see if I really, really wanted this. The food could taste good. It could be this. It could be healthy, all you want, but you really have to want to do it based on a lot of things. And one was your life and your health, and a passion. If you don't have a passion for it, please don't do it. If you're doing it for money, don't do it. If you can't turn around and keep that grind going every single day until you just want to go home at night. If you go home at night, just want to cry. If you can do that and stay, this chair that I'm in right here, I slept in this chair many times. Mm-hmm. For the first couple months of being open, I just kick my feet back and I just go to sleep here and then just start again in the morning. And that was the passion. That's what I mean by the passion. If you can't do it, if you can't weather through that, then sorry about that.
Taking orders, I like it. On a Zoom call and taking orders all together. That's what it takes to be a business owner. You're multitasking a million times, and there aren't vacations, there aren't weekends.
Sorry about that. So yeah, you have to turn around and have the passion for it. So what I did was I turned around and I said, I can't afford this. So what I did was I looked into another business. It's called DVD Now. It's kind of like a Red Box. And that's when all the Blockbusters went out of business. This was back in 2012. And I said, man, I am going to start this up. I'm going to leave Virginia. I'm going to come back home and I'm going to be a millionaire. So I turned around, I took $100,000 of my money and bought 4 of these machines, $25,000 each. And then about 3 months later, when I was right before I was getting ready to deliver them, Blockbuster in red box turned around and put in like 50 machines within the 2 counties. I literally was crying. And I called this CEO and I said, hey, I said, this is the situation I got. He's like, don't worry about it. We'll give you your money back. And I was like, what? And he said, but while I got you on the phone, do you mind going to, it wasn't Zoom back then. It was another system. And he said, would you mind jumping on this call, on this video call to look at what we have? Boom, TapSnap. Then we, for some of you that have never seen TapSnap, let me see those up there. You can see that's our machine. That's my wife, Dawn. But TapSnap is a phototainment company that I started. One of the first 5 franchises in the nation. They got like 300 of them right now throughout the United States and the world. We got some overseas, but I started that company, got into in connection with a lot of business owners around, got hooked up with the chamber. Chamber was the best thing that I swear to God was the best thing I ever did. That's where I met Rosh. That's where I met a majority of the people that are on this call. Is where I met them, through the chamber. And it was one of the best successful things I ever did. So that being stated, I said, hey, I need to turn around and figure out how I am going to become a successful business owner with this. Boom. I didn't do a business plan or anything. I said I had my own money. Boom. I threw it in there. And I struggled. This is where the business plan, back to Ryan and all that was talking about, you have to have this business plan. I didn't have it. I had cash and nobody could tell me what I could do. I didn't have to deal with no banker, no nothing. Bad idea. But I was very successful, very, very successful. And that's what turned around and pushed me into being successful with Tropical Smoothie. It wasn't that I failed at anything. It just made me stronger because I had to struggle a little bit, and it was great. It was as bad as it was great. I loved it. So in the beginning, I decided, when did I want to retire? I want to retire at 50, retire again, because I retired from the military, but I want to retire at around 55 to 57. And at that time, back in 2009, I said, Tropical Smoothie is going to be it. So 2012, 2013 was my avenue of turning and making extra money to afford the ability to start Tropical Smoothie. People are like, and I said, I wanted to open one up in 2018 in Bel Air. And this is 2009. People think I'm crazy. And I said, no, I want to do this. And they're like, how can you forecast 9 years of you're going to open up a cafe? I said, I'm going to start another business. Everybody looked at me like I was stupid. It worked out. And then 2017, I announced that we were going to open one, and people were just like, how? And I said, you got to stick to your guns. You want something, you got to, grind. Just like y'all, everybody on this has talked about. It's all about grind. And not only that, just partnership. You have to, don't burn no bridges. Every single person that you encounter in your life, whether you like them, don't like them, you're gonna have to lean on those people in the future. And that's what I did. And I learned that from the military. But still, you have to do that in your real life, in your civilian life, and then it brought me to here. Our goal is to open up 5 cafes. COVID has made us struggle when it came to open up another cafe. The other cafes. I'm sorry.
You're fine. So it's amazing. Eric talks about people called him crazy, and I hope he responded with, I'm passionate, because you have to be very passionate to go through that and turn those learning lessons into lemonade and make sure it happens. So while he is going to be taking phone calls, like he said, he's got Bel Air open, which is amazing, and he has plans to open additional cafes in Harford County and moving forward with those plans. And without getting into the nitty gritty, because we just don't have time, if you ever want to go into Tropical Smoothie and have a whole conversation about the bumps that come along the road, you're welcome to talk to him, because in his expansion, a successful location, expanding and getting additional locations, it's not been an easy journey, and there are hiccups that come along the way. So Eric, I know you had to take that call and you have nothing to apologize about, but last thoughts kind of with your story before we move on to Dr. Harold.
Yeah, so let me just say real quick exactly what she stated. We're trying to expand right now. We're looking at a location in Elkton, the old subway that was up there. That's up there. Used to be a bank originally. So we're hopefully within the next 2 weeks we'll go to lease. We're in a process right now of maybe putting an extra one. We were going to put one by Klein's in Aberdeen. That kind of fell through. The process took a little bit too much, so we backed off that. But now it looks like we might put one over by Walmart, where we initially was going to put one over there before. It used to be Verizon across from Walmart in Aberdeen. They're actually going to convert that building. If everything works right, they're going to bust a hole in the side of it and make a drive-through for us. And then the one in Elkton will be a drive-through. We have one in Forest. One will be going in Forest Hill as soon as they build that building. We'll have one go into Abingdon by Wegmans when they build that building. And then we'll have another one go into Aberdeen with the new in the middle of the parking lot with a Home Depot and Klein's when they decide to build that building. So we'll end up hopefully with 6. I only wanted to do 5, but it is what it is. Reflecting back on 2020, the year was, I thought, a travesty. And thankful for the people around me and our corporate with being a franchise owner. They helped us out. We are not eligible to get the second round of PPP. So that there is a testimony to state that if you do everything right, you keep your numbers up. We weren't down 25% our first quarter because we were going into a little over our second year. So based upon how you do your projections, we should have been going up every year, up. So our first quarter was great. Second quarter, we thought we were negative. We actually hired a couple of people during that quarter, and that was probably our worst quarter. And I'll tell you, we were down 18%. The other 2 quarters of the year, boom, we were up. So, I mean, it was probably a grind, but that was most definitely, it might have seemed like a bad year, but now that I look back on it and look at the numbers financially side,
congratulations. That's incredible. And I can attest to that he grinds and that he is there every day, because I drive by Tropical Smoothie Cafe every morning, and I usually see him pull in around 7:30. So I saw parking your car. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna come back with some best practices and some other questions that we have, but I do want to move on to Dr. Harold, who owns Maryland Spine Institute with his wonderful wife Joyce. And I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. I'm going to let him do that as to what he has happening in his growth plan. So good morning, Dr. Harold. How are you?
Hey, good morning to everybody. And I'm so sorry, can everybody hear me good?
Yes, we can.
Good. So yeah, I'm sorry I missed the morning. I actually just wrapped up with seeing patients, and I'm excited to be here. I didn't know I was gonna have so many other heavy hitters like Eric, and I see Jazz and Sandy on here, and all these other great entrepreneurs. I see Mr. Parrish. So thank you all. I really wanna thank the Chamber for doing this and opening this up to the community, because I think it's needed. And I think we need a great safe space to talk about not just our success, but our challenges as minority business owners. So this is awesome. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us, and no apologies for joining us when you could. I know you're seeing patients. And what else are you overseeing right now? I think there's a little bit of a move down the road.
Yeah, there is a move.
About?
I'll talk real quick about my journey. And all I want to say is if I was as busy as Mr. Eric Metz and Jazz and Sandy, I could retire tomorrow, So I want my phone ringing off the hook like Eric, right? That's passion. That's awesome. I don't know if he queued that up, but I love that because he's staying busy. Real quick with me, my wife and I, we moved to Maryland. When I first wanted to start my practice, I thought I was a young entrepreneur, and I wanted to open up on day one. I wanted to open up a practice, and at the time, the previous doctors and older doctors would tell me, "Oh yeah, just go to a bank, tell them you got your credentials, you can get a loan, everything is going to be just fine, and you can start up and put your shingle on the door, and everything is fine." So that was my plan. But I graduated in 2008, and if people thought the economy was bad, last year, 2008, banks weren't lending anything, everything was in free fall. So, my first advice that I would give everybody is really just think outside the box, and it's okay if what you plan doesn't work out exactly the way you want it, just like with what Eric said, right? But just be consistent, be passionate. So I ended up working for other people, and I worked from this office. At first I worked in DC, then I worked in Baltimore, and there was one doctor that said, "Hey, look, you know what? Work for me for 2 years and I'll give you this practice, no questions asked." So I started working, I built up the practice and all of that stuff. And long story short, we weren't able to transition. I didn't get it in writing, and I was stuck 2 years later. I had a baby on the way. Joyce was pregnant. She was like, "You better do something because, we got to do better than this." So I had to figure out something, and an opportunity opened up for me to work somewhere. And as I was working there, I was able to also put money aside in addition to the work I was doing, and use that money as like a down payment towards acquiring a practice. And I was able to purchase then the Maryland Spine Institute. So from there in 2014, we started building and growing, and thank God we started growing, and we grew into a second office. And we're not only in Harford County on 730 Baltimore Pike, but now we're also in the Bel Air Beltway Plaza, which is the office that I'm in right now in Overly. And that was actually the office that I was supposed to take over when I first started. But, long story short, it just worked out better for me to start in Harford County. And at the time, I thought Harford County was in like Delaware. Like I didn't know anything about Harford County, right? And nevertheless, I said, "Hey, look, Joyce and I already lived out here. We bought a home out here," and it just so many opportunities opened up. We got connected real early with the chamber, and we met so many people, built so many connections, and that just allowed us to get a good foothold into and know the who's who in Harford County. And that's how I got to meet a whole lot of great people as well. So now in our growth process, and as I brought my lovely wife, Joyce, who's not able to make it, but hopefully she'll see this video. Hi, Joyce. And she's been amazing in terms of helping us kind of just bringing her administrative qualities into the practice and really teaching me to, value the, when you're a business owner, the greatest commodity that you have is your staff. And she's really teaching me how to, do a lot of professional development and build and strengthen the staff that we have. And it's been an amazing journey. So now we have been able to not only grow into the second office, but we're able to actually, we were actually to purchase a brand new, a building that's been in existence, the Winch's Run Professional Center. And there's already 2 great therapeutic centers that are already there. There's Smith and Pothero, which is a great physical therapy center. And there's Remedy Wellness, which is a massage therapist. There is Dr. Haskins that's there. And we have one more space that's about 2,500 square feet to lease. So if anybody's there and there's a young entrepreneur and you want to get into a building that already has great access from right off Baltimore Pike, great space, a community of other like-minded professionals. We're looking for you. There's only one more spot left. So, but yeah, we were excited about that. So we're going to have a brand new state-of-the-art office at 1131 Baltimore Pike. So we're literally just moving right down the road from where we are right now. And, you know, it's amazing that I knew nothing about Harford County. I, you know, took a faith walk because, you know, I never could see myself, you know, flourishing out here, but I started working with Dr. Seymour, and I ended up taking up the Learning Spine Institute, and to see it all come, you know, come to full head now, it's just amazing. And then also within the same year, even though COVID was a very, very challenging year, you know, we were able to leverage our relationships, and we were able to just, you know, hunker down and not give up. As a business owner, you're going to have great days, and you're going to have some very tough days. And if it's really something that you're passionate about and that you want to do, just don't give up. Hang in there. Leverage your relationships. Value the people that you have around you, and God will see you through, right? So not only are we going to have a brand new facility in Harford County, but we're also, cross your fingers, we're also working on renovating our Overly office. Because of COVID, we had a surgeon next door, and he's able to retire early. So we're able to expand our Overly office at the same time. So we're going to have 2 state-of-the-art, brand new renovated offices by the end of this year, on the tail end of probably the most toughest year in our business. So a lot of times when a big hurricane is coming, let the storm pass and just hold on. Keep doing what you're doing. If you know that you are a great baker, a smoothie maker, or whatever you're doing, or Jazz and Sandy restaurant, no matter what's coming to high and low, just keep doing your bread and butter. If that's what got you in the business, if that was your passion, keep doing it, and things are going to turn around. So, you know, that's my quick story, and I thank you so much for the time to share it. And if anybody want to get in touch with us or read about our story or look into us, you know, our website is www.msiwc.com. That's www.msiwc.com. And because this is a Harford County event, our main office location in Harford County is 410-877-8077. And we do everything from chiropractic, physical therapy, spinal disc decompression, cold laser. We have a lot of people come to us because we have such a variety of things that are conservative but are effective to get people better and out of pain and hopefully avoiding surgery and just living a better life. So feel better, live better. Hi, Mom. I'm done.
Thank you. We're going to come back with some other questions, but before we go on to Jazz and Cassandra Tucker, I just want to echo what Deborah Perez said in the chat. You could just feel the passion. You see the passion. Eric talked about it. Dr. Harold has it, and it is true. The panels that we have today epitomize passion. You look up that word in the dictionary, and you're going to see our 3 panelists right now. And I love too, I didn't realize this until now. Again, only had a couple cups of coffee, wasn't quite caffeinated enough, that all of our panelists have an amazing husband and wife team. So Eric referenced Dawn earlier. Dawn is in there every day. She's got her full-time job and working at Tropical Smoothie, but they're a dynamic duo. Dr. Harold and Joyce, and I can hear Joyce saying to you too, you better figure this out all those years. Yes, she is a dynamo, and you know that's a great introduction to Jazz and Cassandra Tucker, who own Island Spice Grill and Lounge. Island Spice Grill and Lounge, if you did not know, was a 2020 recipient of the Hospitality Tourism Harford Award that we had, and just talking about all of the wonderful things that they offer and the contributions to the community. And we're just going to continue with that passion train, because when you talk to these two, the excitement and the energy that you get off of them, it's contagious. So good morning, Jack. Sandra, how are you?
Excitement, energy.
Yes, we're good. We're good. Thank you.
Yeah. We're good. Thanks for having us. We appreciate the opportunity to speak with our peers.
We're happy to have you. And can you just talk to us quickly about your journey and having that vision of wanting to open up this amazing place for the community to congregate and have delicious food and have it be an experience, to where you are today with the growth and all of the just all of the growth that you have and all of the new things that you're doing and the literal additions and
right. I know. Honestly, it all started with a prayer and a dream and a crazy husband, right?
That's me.
Yeah. We definitely, we moved out to Harford County about 15 years ago from New York. And we noticed that there wasn't much of our culture as far as food is concerned. Jazz's background is food and barber and construction. So he's just always have to be doing something, right? My background is mortgages and financial. So when we had family out here, we moved out here initially, and our first business was opening up a salon, barber salon in Edgewood. And we also did a lot of flipping of properties, real estate, because I was in that business, and my family did the construction of it. So at that time, properties were low, and that was, you know, my dad did it. So we sort of like saw the opportunity out in Harford County when we came. And that's kind of how we got started. The restaurant, like I said, was definitely his idea. But we love food, right? We love our culture. And we saw that, we thought that if we brought something like that into this county, it would be sort of like a niche. And there was, you know, we did get a lot of don't do it. It's not going to work. But I'm just here to say, whatever it is that you believe in, your passion, your vision, you pray about it, you talk to people, just go for it. You know what I mean? Just don't, there will be naysayers. There's just going to be those people. And you kind of want those negative people in this side of the ear, but you want to trust your belief and your instinct. And, that was basically what made us just continue and still continuing. And let me tell you, you will fail. Failure is an option in success. Like you'll get knocked down, get right back up. You'll get disappointed. People will tell you no. Banks will tell you no. You know, just keep on doing it. It's kind of one of our driving forces. A lot of times people ask us, like, how do you guys even work together? Well, you know, he yells at me a lot in the kitchen. He tells me go over there. But, you know, at the end of the day, our main focus is how can we want to deliver excellent food to customers. We want you to have such a great experience when you come in there that you're just going to tell one person. And if we've accomplished that at the end of your dining service, we feel like we've done what we came here to do. Am I going to please 99% of the people that come in there? No, because everybody has a different palate. So you may think it's spicy. I may not think it's spicy. You may think it's not authentic. He may not think it's authentic. So we strive for 85, right? And if we exceed it, that means we've done our job. So it's just that drive that I think that we have, and that I would tell anybody, don't quit. Stay the course. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
We heard that earlier. Yes, exactly.
It's my and then get, you know, our connections. You know, Eric's our attorney. You know, Rosh, Eric from Tropical Smoothie, you know, they come in, support each other. It's never a competition. You know, a lot of times people come in, oh, you know, there's another Jamaican restaurant on the street, or there's another, well, you know, there's Burger King and there's McDonald's right across from each other. So it's not a competition in what we do. We're all out here to provide a service, and it's all about preference. So you just need to worry about what you're doing. You need to excel at what you're doing. You need to, you know, put your passion in what you're doing, and you'll get the customers either which way. Even if you visit me one time, you will come. I never think of another person that's doing a business, whether it's similar to mine or anything, as a competition. I think of it all as a mission. Yes. We're all on a mission to accomplish something. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, what can I do to help you? Is there something that you saw in my journey or our journey that we can pour into you? But is there also something that on your journey that you can assist us with? So we're always, you know, a lot of times people say that we're very private. We're not, you know, we're sort of like, we feel like we live a very public life. So some things we, you know, like alone time, we sort of like want to keep some things to ourselves, but we're very approachable. We never really have a lot of time to go out to other places, but stay the course, guys. Just do it. And when somebody tells you no, turn that no into a yes.
Mm-hmm. I love it. But I do have to disagree with you in that your opinion of what, you know, that it's okay if people might think it's too spicy or not spicy. If anybody has anything to say about any of your dishes, send them my way. And that they're wrong. Everything that we have had is amazing. And
thank you. I think the island spice name, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, I can't eat spicy food, but just know that Chef Jazz will alter the spice for you. So you don't have to worry about that at any time you come. You can get it prepared with no spice, much spice, little spice, anything like that. So thank you again for having us, and thank you to our friends. We appreciate it.
Every time, everything I have is my favorite. Like I can never. So that's very good. And I loved how you talked about excellence, and your strive for that is your measure for success. So that's very important. And obviously money in the bank, if you want to measure that, that's an easy measurement of success.
Yeah.
You know, how else do you measure that success? You talk about the excellence and what you strive for, but you know, is it that employee retention? Is it the repeat customers that come in and you're building these relationships? And this is going to be a question for you, Eric, and Dr. Rosh as well. So what other measurements of success do you have?
I remember in our interview with the Chambers, and I apologize, I talk a lot, so.
Love it.
I think we measure, I remember Jazz said it in our interview, that it's about how many lives we touch, right? And that's from that little corner on Edgewood. It's about how many lives we touch, whether it's our employees, whether it's people that come there. We measure success that way. I measure success that way. Like I said, how can I pour into you? How can I touch you? We also love to hire younger people, young kids. Like we start them 16 and up. We want to be their first jobs. We want to be like the McDonald's used to be, because then we feel like we can shape their personality, and we can set them up. A lot of times, you know, you would come in there and you'd see very young kids, and it's probably their first jobs, but we get them out of their comfort zone, out of the house, out of just, you know, your school, your friends. And now you're actually talking to someone. Now you're actually like building up this whole different persona. Yeah. Jazz has that from his barbershop days, and speaking to the young boys, and, you know, and training them how to be men. And, you know, just, you know, he likes like talking and how you treat a woman, how you know, about staying off the streets, how you can turn something that's just, you know, you think that there's just one way to make it into, even if you, a career, like even starting off, you know, like a barbershop or in a restaurant. And then they sort of like look up to you and be like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. So touching lives and people is a measurement of our success. It's money, yeah. Obviously, you know, everybody's in a business to make money. Dollars and cents count, but how many lives we can touch, you know. And I just want you to feel the passion that we have for what we do, and that's important.
Yes,
what do you say about that?
I mean, that's great. I will also say, you know, for people that's in business or starting a business like an art rate, go up and go down. So if you're in a business, it's gonna bloom, it's gonna go up and it's gonna go down, and you don't want it to go straight because then your heart not beating. So it's just like Eric said, he sleep in the chair. Sometimes I feel like I live at the restaurants, you know, and it's just something that you just gotta do. So you gotta be committed. You gotta be passionate about it. You gotta love what you do. Absolutely. And it seems like, you know, my wife is saying work smarter, not harder. But if you have passion and you feel like I'm not working, I'm just enjoying myself, what I do. Like just today, I had a big kidder and I was there this morning and knock it out, and I'm back here and I'm ready to go back. I just love to be in it, you know, and like we just looking for our next opportunity to open one more. And yes, I'm ready for that challenge, you know. And the more you do it, the more you understand the business, the more you understand how I could meet Raj, that give you some advice as well. You know, you have all the credibility, you know, all the plaques, you know, so, you know, and then, you know, our attorney, yes, he's great. He's helped us tremendously, guide us in where we going and long term, and just to put things in place, you know what I mean? And, we just enjoy.
Yeah, and the chamber, you guys have been awesome. Route 40, it's very payday. You know, there's Jeff, Cordila comes there sometime. There's a lot of you guys on here that come and support us. One time, two times, even if you told somebody, we appreciate it, because it's definitely kind of hard being, you know, a Jamaican restaurant in the middle of Harford County. And even who would think of doing that, and why, actually. So our business is off of referrals. That's how we exist. And again, we appreciate anything that you have done, you have said, you have visited one time, two times. Please continue to support us on our journey. And as Jazz said, we are looking for an additional space in Harford County, more sort of on the carry out. So continue to keep us and keep that open if anybody knows of any opportunities. But that's our next move.
That's exciting. That's
yes, thank you.
Exciting. So we will keep our ears to the ground. I know Eric will keep his ear to the ground too, make sure he's working with them. Dr. Harold, they talked about touching lives, and that is a measurement of their success. I'm assuming you probably feel the same way. What are some ways you measure success in your business?
Yes. So, you know, of course, you know, when I'm sure everybody on this call, they got into business, you know, to touch lives, but they also got into business to make a living and to be successful. So of course, one of the things you have to do as you measure success is pay attention to your numbers. What's going out, what's coming in, making sure that you have the right people to help you with that. And if you know that you're weak in that area, then finding certain people that can help you with that. And I think that you notice that, you know, it's a lot of, you know, it's just by happenstance. It's three couples here, but I think a lot of times couples can be, you know, so long as we work great together, you know, the couples can be successful, because usually where one is weak, you know, another is strong in a certain area. So, you know, looking at the numbers, being a good steward over what you got. But to me, you know, the vision of MSI is, you know, making sure every patient that comes through the door has like a wow experience. And my measure of success is not necessarily, you know, quantitative, it's qualitative. So what that means is a lot of times as a business owner, you just want to see the numbers churn and you want to see people coming through the door. And a lot of times you're looking at that. But if you think about it, if you just focus on whatever it is that you're doing in business, if you just make sure that you are the best out there at what you do, that one person, if you gave them a good quality treatment with, you know, chiropractic and physical therapy, or if you gave them an awesome meal or a delicious smoothie, right? That one person is going to go ahead and tell, 20 other people like, hey, you got to go here, you got to go here. And that is, and just like what Sister Sandy said, that, a lot of the businesses, that grow, it's through referrals, especially in Harford County. I would say that almost even more so in Harford County. So, you definitely want to do that and focus on the experience of the client and the quality of services that you provide. And that's going to speak for itself, and that's what's going to allow you to grow.
Thank you so much. And you talked, again, we're kind of coming back to the couples. I just want to say it's so important to have that support system. And I think that that is why you have the success that the three of you have, is that you really are supporting one another. You might not always like one another, and, Jazz might be yelling at you in the kitchen to get out. But at the end of the day, you have that person that you care more about in the world as your support, and you know that that person's got your back. And I think that that's, again, not an accident that you feel your passion, you see your success because of your support systems that you have with your partner. So I just want to, as you were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. This is just that truth that you need. So Eric, how do you unconventionally measure success?
I would say, well, as Sandy, Jazz, and just same as Raj said, I would say that, like, for our place, just as it is for Sandy and Jazz, we bring somebody in at age 16. We want to mold them. I would tell you 99% of them have never picked up a knife because their parents order out. Both parents are working. It's different than it used to be when we grew up. You're at home at 5 o'clock, you're eating, blah, blah, blah. It's not like that no more. People are on the go. They're door dashing this and that. And so when we had the people come in, our whole goal was to turn around and make sure they know how to use a knife, make sure they know how to use a blunt, make sure they use everything by their hands, because our place, just like Jazz and Sandy's, is everything is done fresh. We don't turn around and buy stuff and heat it up in a microwave and send it out. We roast that pineapple, we cut those onions, we do everything is done in-house. And that's what I like. And just as we were talking about for customers and that, we have a customer base. We have an app that we turn around, and people come in every single day and order the same exact thing day in and day out. And those are the people that, just as Rosh was saying, that one person that turn around and use the app, that one person that comes in and has a great experience. Every time I go down to Jazz and Sandy, I swear to God, I have never sat in any other place of their establishment except the party room, because whenever we go down there, we always have 10 people at least that come in there. So they put us there, and it's sweet, and I love that, and it's great, and they take great care of you. And whenever I talk to all my neighbors that go with us, we turn around and talk to everybody else and say, you got to go down there and you got to try this out and everything else. And same thing with Route 40. They've done so much stuff with Route 40 as well, just like we have, that you got to turn around and be good with the neighborhood. If you're not good with the neighborhood and the chamber and that, then you should not do this at all. If you're not going to be part of everything else, because I am nobody without all of the people that are on these screens right now. I am zero, and that's the way it is. So that's my thing. But making sure when people come in, I try to go out and talk to them. I know for Jazz and Sandy, it's kind of hard for them to go out and do it as well. But I try to talk to every single person I possibly can, because we're open. For you that have been in our place, you can see our whole concept is open to where we're supposed to be able to talk across. And in 2020 kind of screwed that whole thing up because nobody wanted to be next to each other. but that's the thing, though. Yeah.
Well, thank you. We have exactly 10 minutes before we have closing remarks, and I know that they've covered a lot of information, and I have some additional questions that I was going to ask. But those of you that are on the call and that are looking for some inspiration or some questions answered if you're getting ready to start your business or kind of at that crossroads to getting that next growth stage, please feel free to raise your hand, drop a question in the chat feature. Because we want to make this interactive, and we want to be making sure that while you've got these three passionate business owners here that you get the information that you want. So please don't hesitate to raise your hand, ask questions, drop it in the chat feature. Please do that. With, you've all kind of touched on it a little bit. What have been some of the best lessons or best practices that you have implemented in this past year to adjust your business operations and stay successful through a pandemic? Again, so many things that were not expected with being closed or, could only have a certain capacity. So what have you implemented to really stay successful? And I'm going to start with Jazz and Sandy to ask you how you've navigated the past year.
So first and foremost, when COVID hit, we met with the staff to figure out how we can keep our staff and our families together, how we can, what can we do? And obviously, there had to be those tough decisions, right? Because we all were affected and in some way, somehow. So after the tough decisions were made and we decided on which, essential staff we would have to keep, we checked with the CDC guidelines, and then we had to adjust our business platform. Obviously, there was no more dine-in, there was no more private room events or buffets, or there was no more live music. There was just no more a lot of things. So we thought about how can we flip the script per se, right? And luckily, we did have a huge carry-out platform that that we decided that, what I like? I love Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A's curbside process is seamless. So Jazz and I were like, we're gonna bring a Chick-fil-A concept to Island Spice. And again, it was just one of those, it's just one of those things that when you have a business that you have to figure out, when life gives you limes, you just got to make lemonade. So you just figure out what you're going to do. And, obviously, luckily for us, not in every other businesses, but we were able to transform, to be able to do that concept. So we called around and got parking lot signs put in to say this is curbside. We used some parking spaces like they do. We developed the app. We called our point of sale system and figure out how we can text you. We found some cute Jamaican language to put in your text to say, wagwan, hello, your food's ready, so that it could be a little exciting. We had the girls, at one point we had them on roller skates, or we kind of like made it fun. So you feel kind of fun while you're outside. And we just figured, again, you just got to figure what you're going to do, what concept you like, talk to people, and see what you can do to make your business work. Because I needed to keep staff, I needed to sell food, I needed to feed my family, I needed to stay relevant. I didn't want to, closing down was not an option. It's never an option.
Love it.
We're going to fight. Yeah, no, we're going to fight this fight.
Amen.
So that's what we did. That's what we did. That's what we did. And we did an outdoor patio, and we took up the parking lot.
And outside that, now that's why we're looking for carry-out, because our carry-out becomes larger than the dine-in. It's easier, and we copied that from Chick-fil-A. So everybody on this call will have a business or starting a business. We can learn from you as well, and you can learn from us. So don't afraid to reach out and talk to anyone, ask them questions, and just admire what they do. And that's how you can come up with your own individual concept.
Thank you.
And can I just add something?
Absolutely. I was calling on you next.
Okay, I mean, I think Eric and Jazz and Sandy are saying pretty much all the right things. Because everybody agreed last year was very, very crazy. But the way that Eric said, think about the community and value the community. Like you can't say you want to be a business owner, but you don't respect and value and cherish and support the community around you. Because the community around you is what's going to make your business successful.
Absolutely.
So that was one thing that we had to do. Of course, at MSI, we had the same hard talk with the staff that, that they had, because it had to be a real conversation. And that's one thing too, like you got to be real. If you do have employees, you got to be real with them. There has to be some level of transparency to say, hey, look, some hard times are ahead and we value you all, but maybe we can do this, or maybe you come in on this time and you come in on this time, so that we can kind of keep things moving. But what we did was we cut a good bit of our overhead. We realized there was a lot of fat in our budget, mainly because of me. Sorry, Joyce. But there was a lot of fat in our budget, and we did have to cut some things off that really, I think COVID really showed us, like, let's focus on what's necessary to keep the business functional and viable. And in terms of the community, what can we do? So what we did was we wanted to, of course, we did all of the PPP, and we went above and beyond with making sure that to promote safety and making sure that we mitigated all of the risk with patients still choosing to come in. And then from there, we spaced out. So it was a business decision, but I said, okay, well, instead of seeing this many people per half hour or hour, we could only see but this many people. And, it meant that, that meant a reduction in the normal business. But for the patients that still wanted to support, we see how we were able to sustain, because people saw that we were respecting them and we were putting policies in place that value them. And even with the Winters Run Professional Center, I didn't say it earlier, but me, Joyce, and I, we have a vision of allowing that Winters Run Professional Center to become a community center. So we want to do things where, Jazz and Sandy, we actually learn, hey, they learn from Chick-fil-A, we learning from them, right? They have once a year, they do this huge, backyard bash, a party, there's food outside, there's things like that. So we want to try to do something similar where maybe in the summer we'll, if anybody comes and supports one of the businesses or is a patron of one of the businesses, they bring their kids and we'll have Kona Ice there on one day, or we'll have Tropical Smoothie or Island Spice out there giving out stuff, right? So we want to create a community center, because the community is what sustains that building, is what sustains us, and it's also what sustains the chamber. Every single one of your members, they have some type of tie into many different communities, whether it's the African-American community, Hispanic community, Asian community, whether it's, certain people where, travel agencies where maybe people like to travel here, travel there. No matter what the community is, we all need each other to survive at the end of the day. So, and it doesn't matter what color you are, where you're from, what state you're from. We all, respect everybody as one, and we want everybody to succeed. So that's what it's all about, building up the community.
Amen. And I love it. You talk about just that open and honest communication and being real. And I think that, without a doubt, that is what you all exude, that it's not smoke and mirrors, that it is like, hey, these might be hard conversations, but let's have them together because we want to come out of this together. And, it's just amazing. Eric, we've talked about curbside and things like that. How you definitely, I hate to use this word, so I'm just going to use it once and then that's it for the day, but pivoted and, implemented some things. What did you do?
Absolutely. Going back to we did have an employee meeting. We sat down with them. It wasn't really too much with our staff as much because we have a young staff. Young is healthy and healthy is good. But the key thing was their families. So when they would turn around and be with the public, everybody coming in, what is it that they would take back to their families? A lot of their families had, problems, like real illnesses, and that we wanted to turn around and make sure that those employees were really healthy or were very careful on our side, and we were trying to do everything properly. We're regulated a little more than Jazz and Rosh is because they're not a franchise. They can do what they want, and so for us, we were kind of it was kind of a little difficult for us in the beginning, but we did have a huge backing. And that's the difference between having a lot of people around and having a corporate that actually is worrying about 920 different franchises at one time. And so it's a great thing when you have those many people thinking at one time on my behalf and for my business, even though that they were thinking about their own as well, but there was a lot of people that can think. You know, Jazz and Sandy had to worry about struggling through this themselves with, you know, trying to find these things and come up with their own app and things like that. Our corporate turnaround is just started with the grind and started doing it. But yeah, there's, you know, where else do you want me to go with this? I get kind of.
I mean, it's just that, I mean, as we kind of wind up and we're looking at 11:57, I think if you don't take away anything from the three of you, you know, nothing else, it's that sense of community and that really working together and being there for one another and, you know, the passion and just we're not going to fail. I love that, you know, failure is not an option. So that's amazing. Eric, Dr. Harold, Jazz, and Sandy, thank you so much for your time today. We've been sitting here for 3 hours, so when we get off this call, I expect everybody to go get a chiropractic adjustment from Dr. Harold.
Yes.
Yep.
For a detox Island Green, a tropical smoothie cafe, and then run yourself down to Island Spice for a rum punch.
We got you. We got you.
I like how you circled around. I love everything.
Always.
Dr. Harold, I'm coming to you first.
Dr. Harold, take care of my back. He did an awesome job, you know.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I want to say hello to Jim Thornton again and offer some closing remarks from the Harford County Caucus of African American Leaders. I hope that you're proud today with this wonderful panel that we had and all of the resources. So Jim, any closing comments?
I would just like to say that it's really been a great three hours, and the time has gone by rather quickly. And I'm just so delighted that we've had the level of engagement, and it's great to see our three business owners to share kind of the real world experiences that they've gone through and they're going through. And so again, it's my pleasure to represent the Caucus of African American Leaders in today's session. Thank you very much, Angela.
Thank you. Thank you for being a partner. And again, we will make sure you have that information for resources. Len Parrish, Director of Community and Economic Development for Harford County and proud partner of the Chamber of Venture Access. Thanks for joining us today, sir, and all that you offer to our community.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us. I think one thing I took out of that end really was community, which I love, right? That's the first thing in our title, community and economic development. And I really do feel like that's a big part of everything we do. It's about the community. It's about how do we relate, how do we get things done, and how do we work together? So I was really happy to kind of hear that theme go throughout. I think, as everybody said, there's been a lot of great information that's come out today. I know Eric McLaughlin earlier was saying how, you know, he learns from these events every time too. He learned something today. I learned a lot today, actually, which is very exciting. And of course, that last panel is always awesome. So, you know, anytime you hear of Eric's growth and you know, Dr. Harold's new building, which is super exciting. We love to see that expansion in Harford County. And of course, our Harford award-winning Island Spice, which I will admit that Ange and I had to come down a few times and taste the product before voting. So we did get over there a couple times. And
thank you.
So the success that we're seeing with you guys is just fantastic. And, you know, we really appreciate everything you're doing for our community. So of course, our job, our Office of Community and Economic Development job, really is to connect anybody to the resources that are out there. So you heard a lot about all of the resources out there today. That's what we're here for. That's what our job is. So please, as new businesses, as businesses that are opening, as businesses that are looking to expand, all of these things, however we can help, please reach out to us. So whether that's through me, through Karen Holt, through Bonnie, who are of course on this call, or any of our business developers, or Robert Andrews, or anybody at our office, anybody that you've got a contact with, please reach out to us. We're here to help. We love everything you're doing in our community. Thank you to all of our business partners that participated today. Thank you for everybody that provided information and sat on the panel today. Really was just another fantastic event. I know it's Friday. You know, we've been doing this for 3 hours, so I'm not going to say any more to that. But thank you. I can't wait till we can get back in person. I think everybody's probably a little bit zoomed out. But, we're going to continue it. We're going to continue working for that. And stay happy, stay healthy, keep smiling, as Barry would say. And thanks for everything today.
Thank you. Heather, please take it away, and thank you for all that you do with Venture Access.
Thank you. No, of course, thank you to all of our partnering sponsors and all of our community assets, and our panelists. I truly think, and I know this might sound cheesy and I say this a lot, but I mean it, the passion that you hear today, that's one of the reasons why I do love the job that I do have with the Chamber. And now that it's just compounded with Venture Access and having this direct interaction with entrepreneurs in our community, it truly is inspiring to hear from these individuals. And I do encourage you all to utilize them as a resource. They're your peers in Harford County, and they are truly amazing individuals that I have the pleasure of working with every day. So thank you all for being a part of today. So I'll be quick with my official closing remarks. We'll stay on for some post-event networking, just very casual. If anybody still has questions or you just want to chat, get some more information about the stories we heard today or the resource partners that may stay on. But what I also would recommend that you all are invited. The Chamber hosts a monthly networking event every third Wednesday of the month. So for March, it will be March 17th. It's in the morning from 8 to 9, and it is virtual for right now. We're hoping to get back in person once the weather finally breaks, which I'm sure we're all praying for. I know I am. That is called Coffee and Connections. So again, without the opportunity to really be able to connect like we typically do at this event, that's a great opportunity for you to, again, meet your peers, to get the word out about who you are and the business that you represent or own as well. So you're all invited, and we will include that registration information in the post-event follow-up. And again, if anyone wants to remain on the line, we'll kind of stay on until about 12:30. And again, just very informal. We'll have the opportunity to chat, get to know each other a little bit better. And we really thank every one of you for being a part of today's event.